We're Arctic Monkeys. This is Don't Believe the Hype.
That rock and roll, eh? Ladies! That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question. Cheers, dude.
That man just yawned.
We're gonna call it,
Don't Believe the Hype.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Don't Believe the Hype, the podcast dedicated to covering the entire discography of Arctic Monkeys in chronological order. I'm your host, Justin, and tonight's episode is Series 5, Episode 16, where we will be wrapping up this era, giving our final thoughts and rankings on the Arctic Monkeys' fifth album, AM. But before we do our AM deep dive, first let me introduce my co-hosts for today. First up, we have the man who is ready to simmer down, pucker up, and kiss the AM era goodbye. It's Dan. Welcome, Dan.
Hello. How are you, Justin?
I'm good, and it's good to see you again. I know for the listeners it hasn't been a long time, but for us it's been a couple weeks.
A few weeks, yeah. I've been away. I've been cruising the Amalfi Coast, listening to AM, making my decisions ready for this.
Making the big decisions out there
Making the big
in Italy.
decisions, yeah. And I actually found, well, the biggest takeaway from it was, turns out the best experience of the car is to be lay on a yacht on the Amalfi Coast with the sun setting, going into dark, coasting the cruise. That was the best time I've ever listened to the car. So there you go.
All right, so that's essential now for.
But yeah, yeah, for the car now, if you want the best experience, you must fly to Italy, charter a yacht,
Get on a yacht.
Hey, if you're a true fan, that's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, and next up, our very special guest for today, making his first appearance on Don't Believe the Hype. It's our number one correspondent, Simon Love. Welcome, Simon.
Hello, Justin. Hello, Dan. How are you?
We're good.
Good. It's nice to finally speak to you face to face in a sense.
Face
Not just me sending snarky comments. I think you'll find.
Hey, no, but it is interesting because you are the new Justin in a sense. Justin used to be the number one contributor to the podcast, and now he is host. So when Justin abandons me in between now and Tranquility,
So just give it another year, and you'll be hosting.
Yeah, until we get to another album. I think I can hang Justin on until at least we get to the end of the car, and then have there been any?
But then that new album, it's just going to be so trash that no, just there's so many rumors about the recording sessions booked in November. That was the last that I heard.
Then I also saw a thing from James Ford. Somebody messaged James Ford on X, and he went, "No, this is not true."
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, but he would say that, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
This is like Tom York. Tom York said a month ago that Radiohead were definitely not doing anything, and then they announced a tour yesterday. So they lie to us. They all lie to us, don't they? So, you know.
Well, especially if he confirmed, like, yeah, we're recording. Can you imagine just how many people would like pester or try to hang out near their studios and stuff like that? So best to just lie. Anyways.
Well, we need you. You're the key to this, Simon, because you can tell us when the lights are on in Jamie's home.
Yeah, I've been painted as some sort of Jed Maxwell figure. Like I'm hanging around his house all the time. He lives close to where my son goes to school, and I walk past his house. And I'm not there.
You did this to yourself. It was you that set this up.
I know. And weirdly, when they were before the car was recorded, when they did that stuff in the Buttery Manor or wherever it was called, there was photos of Alex and Nick outside a pub, which is about 10 minutes walk from my house. And there was also a photograph of Alex. Somebody delivered a piano to a studio with their child for some reason, and I had a photograph of the kid and Alex outside of it, and that is like just down the road from where that pub was. So I was like, so either they were demoing things there, or he was demoing things there, and then. So for ages, I would just walk past. I would go out of my way to walk like a long way home to go past things, see if he'd be there.
I love how you
never saw him in Tesco.
I love how you just said that we were painting you as a stalker, and yet you just said that you went out of your way. I would do the same. Though I wouldn't have. I would have been in the. I would have got a job at the Tesco just to cover the ground in there. That's what I would have. That's
It's
the level I would have
genuinely.
got to.
I'm going to put this on record. Haggerston Tesco, one of the worst Tesco's in existence.
So Alex probably went there once and didn't go back, I imagine. Yeah,
He's written a song about
it. Yeah. Hey, don't be surprised. But we are here to wrap up the era, aren't we? The AM, the biggest commercially so era, I think it's fair to say. So before we do, I just wanted to do a bit of admin before we jump into it. If that's okay with you guys. So I just wanted to say I was listening to the Stop the World I Want to Get Off episode, which released yesterday, to the masses, and I did one thing I noticed that I didn't say, which I thought I should have said, was that "get off with you" in England is slang for making out with someone or having sex with someone, pulling someone on a night out, or something or getting off someone. And so I'm not saying he is saying that, but I just thought it was worth mentioning that he could be saying "Stop the World, I want to get off with you" in the AM sort of theme, I guess, like get off with someone.
I thought that too. Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised we didn't mention that. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought we didn't say it for some reason. I think we got caught up with things, unless we did, and I just wasn't listening properly to my own podcast. Now I'm retroactively correcting something that I didn't need to. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, who knows? But we did also get the day that we last recorded the Yosa Dark episode. Which, think of this, right? We've just recorded Yosa Dark. I'm like, great, that's wrapped up. I'm going on holiday tomorrow. I'm going to go to the barbers. I'm sat in the barbers waiting to go in the chair. I get an email from Christopher Gale saying, just listen to the I Want to Be Yours episode. Don't like the song anywhere near as much as you two do, but I enjoyed your takes on it. Lovely, that's fine. I go, okay. Then he says, because for subscribers, we do a bit in the post show where we compare it to earlier things, and I think in that particular one, Justin had posed which is the best final songs.
Closing, we were doing closing songs,
like rating the closing songs, so 505 and all that. And we had put I think Justin had put 505 as number 1, Certain Romance as number 2. I'd put Certain Romance as number 1. And we'd also said, I think we both said Jeweler's Hands was at the bottom, which I wasn't happy with because I love Jeweler's Hands, but out of all the closers, it's difficult.
Yeah.
But Christopher said, just to ruin me before I go on holiday, the idea that 505 could be considered better than A Certain Romance is mad. Justin has gone right down in my estimations. And then he said, and the Jeweler's Hands is the worst closer. What are you boys smoking? Is what he said. So,
what did he send a list though to back it up?
No, he did not send a list to back it up. So come on, Chris, get on it. But I said to him, look, it's I love Jeweler's Hands, but those lists are always so hard because the quality of the songs are so good. But Christopher, what do you think? What would you have had as what do you think the best closer is? Is it Simon? Sorry, Simon. That sounded like I was speaking to Christopher through the. Simon, what do you think? Is it Certain Romance the best closer? Like I said, which I think, come on,
no, I probably would say it's 505.
Oh my god, I've got two of them.
That is such a as a song. There's nothing to it in terms of like chords. It's like 2 chords the entire way through, and it's just
we're getting the musical
the way it builds up
week.
and no, it's just the way it builds up and up and up and up, and it gets you to a peak and then goes down. I think that's one of the best musically put together songs they've ever done.
So we said this on the episode, didn't we, Justin? We get the take musically because Simon's a musician, because that's the one thing that we discussed the music, but
and honestly, some of that's going to come up tonight too. Some of my arguments of justifications of some songs are going to come around that realm. So maybe, hopefully, Simon will be jumping in.
No,
I don't read music, or I'm not like trained in any way. I learned that.
But thinking from that perspective, though,
Me neither. Well, I don't. Yeah, but we know from my band that I'm not trained anyway. The stories I've told, but no, but I think with Certain Romance, it's nostalgia, isn't it? And it's the excitement of it, and it being like one of the best things I'd ever heard when I was 15, 16.
Oh yeah, of
that
course.
Kind of thing. I think that's what feeds into it, and
I think it's that neck and neck race, to be honest. I think I switched it up for 505 just to switch it up. But I mean, really, they're always just going to be top tier for me, no matter what.
And actually, I think musically, considering the simplicity of the first album a lot, Certain Romance, considering what they did that during the album, right, recordings, rather than it being an early one. Oh, was it an early one?
No, it was on Beneath the Boardwalk.
It was Beneath. So they'd only been playing a couple of years when they wrote that solo, which kind of blew my mind. Because although it isn't technically, difficult, it's like, wow, I couldn't have done that. So yeah, I think it just holds a lot for me. And obviously at the gigs we always get 5 or 5, but when they crack Certain Romance out, it's like a dream.
Oh, it's special
moment,
now, yeah.
So, yeah. So, but yeah, but obviously 5 or 5 is gonna last longer lyrically for different generations because
I think that was part of the justification too. Yeah, it's kind of a timeless song now,
Yeah, although going up on a Council State, I love that. I think that might be it as well. That kind of tracky Reeboks, knackered Converse. Like there's boys in bands, but there's dickheads also. That kind of thing. It was just for me, it was just so personal. I felt like it was that first time when I was like, he's writing these songs for me, and that hasn't stopped for 20 years. So, but yeah, so that was the admin from Christopher. So thanks. But Christopher is going to be a part of this show because he couldn't make it because he has work. Because we record this at very odd hours because of the career situation, 11 a.m. But luckily Simon's a bum like us, so he can be here. But we're.
I think Simon specifically. Didn't you say you took off work to be on this episode?
They took a day off work. Yeah, it's very.
What a champ! Wow.
I know. Man. I literally have just pushed my emails to snooze for work. No idea. But Chris sent us it, and I'll play the first bit now. The little intro he gave us about his AM experience, and then we can jump into the information for the era. So let's do it. Here's Chris with his Scottish twang. I hope you can understand him, Justin.
All right, guys, how you doing? Thanks very much for inviting me onto the podcast. Sorry I can't be there in person, but I appreciate you sort of putting extra effort in to be able to help me contribute.
Oh, that was it. Sorry,
oh no, that's awesome. No, yeah.
Yeah. All right. I've segmented his thoughts up into all different segments, so I was like, okay, that was just his little thank you to us. So yeah, I'm just taking. I guess I was just giving myself a little ego boost there, wasn't it? With that one,
pat on the back there.
A little pat on the back for me there with that one. But yes, should we jump into some information on this then?
Yes.
Have it.
The information action ratio. Ain't that the place to go?
I have to make sure I don't keep calling you Chris throughout this now.
I'll do my best to regulate.
My name not on the screen.
No, none of ours are. Yeah.
I mean, I know your name's Simon Love. It's just now that I've done it once, my brain will want to continue to do it. Yeah. But
I can speak in a Scottish accent if you'd like me
to. Yeah, please do.
This is doubtful.
But Irish accent, and then we've got more. We've got Irish, English, Scottish, and American. That's
I'm Welsh.
What else do we do? Is that a Welsh accent? See, this is how
I'm Welsh. Yeah.
Accents even. Oh, okay. Wow. Well, we got Welsh then. So Justin, if you could do an Irish accent, then we'd have covered all the British Isles.
Oh boy, you don't want that.
Come on, try your Irish, Justin. But yeah, so AM is the 5th studio album by English rock band Arctic Monkeys. You can tell that came straight off the Wikipedia there. That I didn't change it. Released on the 9th of September 2013 through Domino. It was produced by James Ford and co-produced by Ross Orton at Sage and Sound Recording in Los Angeles and Rancho de la Luna in Joshua Tree, California, which I believe is that where Humbug was as well. Josh Homm's one, was it? Rancho de la Luna? Maybe.
I think so.
It might be.
Yeah, I know. I was reading an article yesterday about how they did songs for the deaf there and stuff, so I guess so. AM received critical acclaim, with critics praising its darker and groovier sound in comparison to the band's previous records. I mean, that whole dark thing, I'm like, okay, if you mean literally like nighttime, then yes. But if you mean like dark in sound, then I think Humbug kind of takes
dark and mood, no, I mean Humbug is the moody, but
Humbug
there is something.
And second part of Favorite Nightmare is moodier, right?
Yeah, it is.
I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of get it, but also at the same time, I can't justify it. I also think of it as a nighttime album and dark, but I don't know why.
I think it's in that sense it is a nighttime dark album, right?
Yeah,
that makes sense. But darker usually means like something else.
Moody, lyrically moody. But
yeah.
It's more like I know, horny. Just
I suppose they couldn't write that. With critics praising its hornier and groovier sound in comparison to the band's previous records. It won the Brit Award for British Album of the Year and was nominated for the Grammy Award for Best Rock Performance for Do I Want to Know, and was robbed, in my opinion. And it was nominated for the Mercury Prize, but they were, I mean, they were too big at that point to win the Mercury Prize. That always goes to someone like Arctic Monkeys' previous form when they won it. Several media publications have ranked AM among the best albums of 2013, of the 2010s, and of all time. I wonder if there is like an album I could honestly say is better than that in that year. I wonder. I'd be interested.
2013?
Yeah.
I'll look up some and see if any come close.
Yeah. NME called it the best album of the decade, of course, because NME have... I mean, look, I love Arctic Monkeys, but even I sometimes go, NME have really got the head up Arctic Monkeys' arseholes. they love it, don't they? They did disappear around Humbug time. So they included it in the 500 Greatest Albums of All Time list, and Rolling Stone included it on the 2020 edition of its 500 Greatest Albums of All Time list. It was a huge commercial success, topping charts in several countries and reaching top 10 positions in many more. Topping the UK albums charts. We won't give any numbers there because we've got to save it for the Ghost Cookies bit. But the album became the band's most successful album in the United States, and the single Do What I Know became the first song by the band to enter the Billboard Hot 100, with the album topping 4 Billboard charts and being certified 4 times platinum in the US by the Recording Industry Association of America in 2023. In an interview with Zane Lowe on Radio 1, Arctic Monkeys frontman Alex Turner said that the album title was inspired by the Velvet Underground's 1985 compilation album, VU. Or is it VU? Is it VU? Or...
Yeah, it's VU. There's like a VU meter on the front cover.
Right, okay. He said, I actually stole it from the Velvet Underground. I'll just confess that now and get it out of the way. The VU record, obviously. He went on to say, did we cop out? Yeah, something about it feels... like this record is exactly where we should be right now, so it felt right to just initial it. Alex later revealed that the band had nearly titled the album The New Black after a guitar ramp they used in the recording process. I got this old Rickenbacker thing that we recorded a lot through. There's no knobs, just 2 holes. Don't laugh, Dan. And this little black amp that became known as The New Black crossed me mind to call the album that. How would you feel if they'd called it The New Black?
I love that actually it's their self-titled album.
Yeah.
And it's it really fits.
It's
kind of
and
perfect.
it links to AM being the AM theme of it in the AM. You know, it is perfect.
It really works perfectly, yeah.
And think of
that.
that.
Think, Simon?
In like, after midnight, that sort of thing. Yeah, that makes more sense. It's the reason
12 years on, we're still finding out things, eh?
I know.
Well, actually, I mean, maybe that was. Do you think they did? Do you think they did that on purpose, or it's just a happy coincidence that it's?
I think it's all just kind of a really nice coincidence. They probably were like us, where they were like, "Oh, I am," and then it all kind of came together, probably. But I mean, they probably did realize.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the lyrics are clearly about that kind of
the AM,
time, aren't they? Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm happy with it. Yeah, I don't think that the new black would also kind of make it like, you know, when they were going to call Suck It and See the like Thriller or the white, you know, like how we got the White Album and stuff. It would seem like they were doing some kind of joke, I think, which this album isn't necessarily worth for. But he also cited Outkast, Aaliyah, Black Sabbath, all things that we've covered in our pre-show. Justin,
I know, that's why.
Captain Beyond and the Groundhogs, who we did not cover, and I've never heard of. Simon, any insight into
Captain Beyond and the Groundhogs?
No?
That sounds like a made-up thing. And the Groundhogs. Hang on.
Yeah. I'll continue to read it while we look it up. But guitarist Jamie Cook also cited the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars as an inspiration for the album, which I did not know, which means we should have done that. But I think we're going to do a Bowie album on Tranquility, aren't we? So I'll probably do Ziggy Stardust.
Looks like they're 2 different bands. Captain Beyond and the
sorry, right. They put the on there. Okay, so
I've never heard
of either of them.
I've heard of the Groundhogs, but they always seem like one of those bands that is like a proggy band.
Is Captain Beyond sounds like a rapper, like a sort of?
No, they're both heavy psych according to this website.
Shit. Okay.
I've never heard of Captain Beyond. I'll write that down and we'll listen to that later.
Yeah, I might have a go. Now that I don't have to listen to a structured album every week for the podcast, I can listen to what I want again. So I might listen to that. But the Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust was an inspiration for the album, and Jamie said it was one of the only albums they listened to while recording AM, which I think is really interesting. As I imagine you're quite familiar with that, Simon.
Yeah,
It's one of my obviously, as you know, it's a great album. Not my favorite Bowie album, but it is a fantastic album. But I'm trying to think.
doesn't
Like,
really feel like it didn't. There's no like
number one only, you know, number one party anthem only. I think that's probably the only. Yeah, it doesn't sound. I'm trying to think because it's a mixture of glam rock, piano ballads, and yeah, I can't hear
that's
the
about
AM.
it. Yeah,
yeah. That's kind of summed it up there. If anything, I think I said on Flesh Adolescent that I always thought the lead guitar in Rock and Roll Suicide sounded like the kind of carnival-y lead guitar that Flesh Adolescent has, that Jamie Cook has become known for. So that kind of tracks for number one, but I don't hear AM in Ziggy Stardust at all, really.
no. But
Very strange.
even like in the lyrics or anything, there's not really a similar sort of thing. That album is pretty much about an alien.
I mean, if you were going to compare, if you're going to compare it to anything, it would be Tranquility, right? Because he's made up a fake performer on a hotel in Mars for a couple of the songs. So, yeah, I don't. Well, but I suppose just because you listen to it doesn't mean it necessarily has to seep through. I guess, but there you go.
That was the thing that when Tranquility came out and he said he was listening to Serge Gainsbourg and all these different things. A friend of mine said, "Well, this album sounds nothing like those." And I was like, "Yeah, that's the point. He hasn't just copied them."
No, it's
He's used influences from all over and he's put them together in a different way. But anyway, that's for another album discussion.
Well, we are on the pre-show is going to go through that playlist that I created for Spotify.
Oh wow,
from that, and do that. So, that'll be interesting.
Good luck. But, some of that is tiring.
Yeah, I think Justin's going to fucking hate some of that. To be honest, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But the Dion album, which is now one of my favorite albums, thanks to Alex, is a great album. But again, not much of Tranquility is from that. Maybe here and there, but more the car, if anything. But the band incorporated new instruments to record the album. They used keyboards such as piano organ and Celeste, a Hohner guitar, and a vintage drum machine. Recording was done differently as well. Producer James Ford stated that instead of the live recording technique of the previous album, this album was recorded mainly with bass guitar and drums laid down first, with emphasis on groove. Helder's drum kit was often set up in unconventional ways to achieve different sounds, and guest musicians, as we've already covered, Josh Homme, Bill Ryder-Jones, and Pete Thomas were featured on the album, and thematically the album concerns frustration surrounding tainted romance, sex, and loneliness. The hot topics of your 20s. So Simon, as the kind of musical corner of this episode, with the whole the sort of the recording and the different instruments in there and that, do you have any thoughts on anything?
Well, a lot of it sounds like it's maybe not, maybe just Matt Helders is such a good drummer that they don't need click tracks and everything. He's pretty consistent. Everything sounds very I suppose it's the hip hop influence of having everything not speeding up, not slowing down. It's all very uniform and very steady. So that's I've heard stories of what's his name, Dr. Dre, doing one take of a vocal for a whole day. Like that song I was talking about the other week. He messaged in about Let Me Blow Your Mind by Eve and Gwen Stefani.
Oh yeah.
Gwen Stefani said that Dr. Dre basically made us sing the one line over and over again because it wasn't directly on the beat. And I presume so he needed it like how he heard it in his head. So I think they've taken a lot of the hip hop recording techniques, like you said, focusing on groove rather than a band sound like Suck It and See was. Where Suck It and See you can hear at the beginning of some songs just like the amp sound before they start, like the shh, and then things start. With this, it just feels like it's very almost like made to be a pop R&B album. Like there's no even though with things like Arabella or whatever, there's rock elements to it. When you get into the verses and it's just there's just like the bass and the bass drum and all that clicking locking together. There seems like there's very little how you would have it normally with a rock band, where there'd be people wanging on in the background.
through and
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's
and so
something
it sounds very clean for
Yeah.
a what is called a rock album. Is very clean.
It's
There's
more sterile
Yeah.
sound.
but
Yeah, yeah. Well,
without
that's what's led
without
to its
being
commercial success, probably.
yeah, but without being boring. Like you can like record songs
sure.
to a click track, and it's just sort of like it becomes a process of like cut that out and put that there because it's the same. You want it to be the same thing. Whereas if you're recording a song, you want to have different elements coming in at different times. I think they're really good at um arranging their songs, so
Yeah.
you don't ever get bored or your ears don't get tired of one song just with the same thing all the way through. Like they'll drop things out and they'll bring other things in, and for choruses they'll put something extra in. So it is, I think that from the beginning, from the very first album, I think they were really good at arranging a song. Like any band could take any of those songs and just rattle through them, but it is knowing when to stop, when to take that out, when to put that back in, and just the flow and how to make it an enjoyable song without it being almost like bubblegum. Like it's good at first, like, oh, this is amazing, but then by your third chew, it's just like, oh, it's the same fucking thing over and over again.
Yeah. I think because one of the things we consistently said on here is about that kind of control, isn't it? This album and how the bass and the drums and very like, and we've commented, I think, on some of the B-sides that they seem a bit looser and a bit like Nick's allowed to go off on the groove and stuff. But so that makes sense. And when we did 2001 in the pre-show and we did Aaliyah and stuff, and we kind of saw like, okay, this is kind of what they're emulating because it's this beat and this, like you say, sterile, and it stick to this and make sure it's perfect. But also with those hip hop songs, some of them go on for like 7 minutes, and that is that bubblegum third chew. Like, God, this is getting on a bit. Arctic Monkeys know when to end a song, is what I'll always say. They don't outsing the welcome really ever.
But then I think the hip hop songs that do that, go on for so long, is because they've got so much to say. Like the They Not Like Us, that Kendrick Lamar song, that goes on for a while, but it's entertaining because he's just railing on Drake for 5 minutes straight.
Well, I think one of the things we made a connection to in the pre-show, which is interesting because on this album we have half 70s rock with kind of Sabbath stuff and hip hop, is that we saw a through line, didn't we? Because we did sort of 70s rock albums, in the length of the tracks between hip hop albums and 70s rock albums. They both have loads of tracks and songs that go on for like 7, 8 minutes. We're like, okay, that's weird because Arctic Monkeys have taken those two things and put them on this album, but kind of, in a clean way. No, but that's really cool. I think that kind of tracks with what we've been saying. But I think Helder's talked about the clicker on the Drumeo as well, didn't he? He said he didn't like it in the past, but he started using it in recent years and he's got used to it. But in the past, it used to throw him off and he hated it. But now he almost like wants it.
I think the recent years thing might be because of the Tranquility when they recorded it.
Yeah.
Didn't Alex say he recorded a lot of it at home? So he would have done that to a click track. So he would have to have drummed to a click track because otherwise.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously, I'm getting excited for Tranquility every time we mention it now. But to carry on the AM tour with over 150 concert dates in Europe, North America, Australia, and New Zealand, was held to promote the album. It started on the 22nd of May 2013 in Ventura, California. The next year, the band shared a short documentary film via their YouTube channel to mark the end of the tour in its South American leg, featuring a performance of Are You Mine at its final date on the 15th of November 2014. So May 2013 to November 2014. What a tour. On 15th of July 2013, Arctic Monkeys revealed a track titled I Want It All during XFM radio show and exclusively played One for the Road on Zane Lowe's BBC Radio 1 show. So they did drop quite a few of the tunes before the album came out, didn't they, really?
Yeah, because we were talking about how Stop the World even came out before the album came out. It was on YouTube. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think Domino knew what was going to happen. The waveform depicted is characteristic of an amplitude modulated AM signal and shows AM in the center, depicting the album's name. Arctic Monkeys were scheduled to perform on Jimmy Kimmel Live on the 9th of October 2013, but had to cancel as Kimmel's guest rapper Kanye West talked for too long. Well, no surprise there, really, is there, on that one? But yeah, stop talking, Kanye. Even now, stop talking. You're still talking. The band performed Do I Want to Know Now You Mine on the show's outdoor stage a week later on the 16th of October 2013. At the 2013 NME Award, I mean, that's a shame. Bloody Kanye, I would have loved to have seen them perform. What song at that time? What song? October 2013? What song would they have done? What was the single around?
October 2013.
One for the Road, maybe?
No, I think it would have been more around High, actually.
High. Oh, Life Pumps Up High and Jimmy Kimmel. See, Kanye, what are you doing to us? And we could have got to have like seen Kanye watching Arctic Monkeys do a hip hop song essentially on the stage.
True.
So what the fuck? If Kanye ever just shut the fuck up for once. At the 2013 NME Awards, Arctic Monkeys were nominated for Best British Band. Are You Mine was nominated for Best Track. And yeah, they lost out on the rock performance at the Grammy Awards. And we all know about the Brits and the Brit speech. NME ranked AM number 449 on their list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. I thought NME would have had it something silly like number 2 or something on that list. You know what I mean? No. There is still a bit of silliness to NME here. So they ranked AM number 449 on the 500 greatest of all times after it only being out for 1 month. So that was
Okay.
So there you go. There's always something with NME there. The magazine also announced its list of best 50 albums of 2013 with AM taking the top spot. I think fair enough. They said AM felt like a genuine evolution for the Monkees and one that wasn't without risk. Its success, however, rested on the 2 things that had always made them special: Alex Turner wry way with words and his way with a tune. I was a bit discreditive of the rest of the band there with that second line, and his way with a tune. So I think with that, we will go into here we go. 15th of September 2013, the album charted at number 1 on the UK albums chart, thus becoming the second fastest selling album of the year, behind. Any guesses on what album might have been the fastest selling album of that year that they were behind?
I had a look at other 2013 albums, and all I could see was New by Paul McCartney. Was that one?
Oh God,
No.
There was a Drake album that came out that year, or Yeezus actually also came out that year.
When his God complex truly began.
Random Access Memories by Daft Punk.
Yes, that is. Yes, that is the
right.
one. Yeah, that was the fastest selling. So with the debut of AM on the chart, Arctic Monkeys also broke a record, becoming the first independent label band to debut at number 1 in the UK with their first 5 albums. One that was carried on into Tranquility and then broken by bloody Taylor Swift for The Car. Taylor Swift released an album the same week as The Car, so she got the top spot.
Yeah.
Bloody bitch. Although, wouldn't they still have that record? Because she is not on an independent label, surely. Surely they still
But
hold
no,
that.
the point is that they didn't reach number 1. So
Yeah.
she's not on an indie label.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, sorry, that was very stupid of me. I've been on holiday.
But I mean, still, they had 6 albums reach number 1.
Pretty good, yeah. And to be fair, they would have had 7 if it wasn't for Taylor Swift. Let's be honest, because these people.
And then that album end with When My Invincible Streak turns on to the final straight or wherever he sings.
Yes.
They knew what was happening.
They knew what was happening. Yeah, exactly. He always predicts it. And as well, I think the reason why they normally get that is because they're one of the few, not few, it's just because I'm out of touch with the band today, but I'd say few people like where I think a lot of people, you would go get the vinyl, you know, you order the vinyl, like it's one of the few, for me anyway, like brand new albums where I order a vinyl for it in advance. So AM also peaked at number 1 in Australia, Belgium, Flanders. Let's not get the Flanders, yeah. Oh,
it's the second Belgium album.
So you may have heard before. There's 2 Belgium charts.
Belgium too.
Belgium Ultra Top Flanders and Belgium Ultra Top Wallonia, which is like it's. We still don't know. We're still waiting for Belgium listeners to tell us what the hell is going on. Because I've been to Belgium, it's not big enough to warrant 2 charts, so I don't know what's going on. It also debuted at number 1 in Croatia, Slovenia, Denmark, Ireland, the Netherlands, New Zealand, and Portugal, and reached top 10 positions in several other countries. It got pretty high in all of them. 11 in New Zealand, which is pretty high. But let's go to. I'm just trying to look for the US. It got to number 9 in the US. Top rock albums. The answer to what?
to the Belgium question.
Oh wow, okay. I'd never considered just looking it up.
Yes, I was like, we need to know. We need to know at this point.
Sitting on the internet. Come on, let's find out.
So it comes down to Belgium's unique language and cultural split. Why two charts exist? Belgium has two main linguistic communities: Flanders, the northern region, Dutch speaking, and Wallonia, the southern region, French speaking. Because music tastes and media markets are different between these groups, the Belgian charts are split accordingly. Still kind of weird, but
I'm kind of disappointed. I was kind of hoping for a sort of Berlin Wall type scenario that I wasn't aware of in Belgium, and we could kind of lead a revolution and get Arctic Monkeys to perform like David Bowie did at the wall and knock it down, and we could be the
David Hasselhoff.
Dream Dead. David Bowie and David Hasselhoff. What a lineup! Can you imagine that? Who was on first, though? That's what I want to know. Who followed who? In fact, in Germany, they wouldn't have cared. They bloody love both of them. But quick trivia before we go into the Ghost Cookies. AM is the shortest name for an Arctic Monkeys album with only 2 letters. I'm hoping I'm stepping on some of Justin's quiz questions for later here. But the album was recorded for 9 months, making it the longest Arctic Monkeys album to ever be recorded until it was overtaken by the band's 6th album, Tranquility Base Hotel in Catino, and football man Casino, which took 2 years to record, which I don't think is true, is it?
No,
I think they're counting Alex in his bedroom recording it.
Yeah,
as part of that.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So
that's not fair.
That doesn't count, does it?
You know what? With all that recording, why didn't we get more B-sides? Come on, guys. Come on. 9 months of recording, you only got 3 B-sides. What are you doing?
But the one B-side that we did get, Justin, is just pure excellence. So what can I
Just
say?
all Alex.
Just AM is
I was talking about AM. I was talking about AM.
Oh, all right.
Oh, sorry.
Because
sorry,
they said it's the longest. Yeah, the longest recorded until Tranquility. Until Tranquility.
Yeah, but it was like the longest, but the most precise. Like, we're not fucking about. We're not gonna do it. We're taking these songs in. We're gonna release one of the best B-sides ever in 2013. So AM is the album with the most singles released, with 6 being released. As we know, Domino really took the piss. This Humbug and Suck It and See are the only albums where all the tracks were performed live. Is that true? Is that I read it
because the one that we thought was I Want It All, which we proved later had been played like 4 or 5 times.
Oh yeah, I know for this one, but were all the tracks on Humbug and Suck It and See performed live? I was like, I guess they must have been.
No, on
Love Is a
Humbug
Laser
and
Quest.
Suck It and See. No, they played Love Is a Laser Quest live. They played it live.
Did they play
No, sorry.
live?
I thought
actually at the Shepherds at the
Oh,
summer
yeah.
called
Yeah,
in
they
and
did
wrote
the
in
whole
a
thing,
picture.
yeah.
They did the whole album, Like
we actually
we
actually talk about that on the next episode of the podcast that you haven't heard, Simon.
Okay.
About that Humbug gig, don't we? But that's interesting. No, because I'm sure Pile Driver Waltz. I could be wrong on that. The band had never done it. And
I've seen the band.
discussed- Okay, I'm talking.
They've
shit.
done it.
I
Yeah.
thought we'd posed that
Yeah.
they hadn't done it because it was like a song that Alex wrote, but
I'm pretty sure
There
they've
you
done
go.
them all.
Well, it makes sense as the best album. So, AM is the longest Arctic Monkeys studio album, running over 41 minutes and 38 seconds. That was another fact where I went, hang on, is that true? And I went and checked, and yeah, they are all sort of middling under 41 minutes and 38 seconds. I thought it was Tranquility. But yeah, I thought Tranquility would be longer, but I guess apart from Star Treatment, they're not all that long.
There's only
really.
like 10 songs
Some
on
of
there.
them are shorter.
there's
Yeah,
some
like
songs
track
on there.
number
Go-
4 is pretty short. I
Golden,
think.
Golden Trunks is like 2.5 minutes.
Yes, your favorite album. I'm
Yeah.
correct, Simon. Yeah,
Yeah.
That is the one that next series could overtake Suck It and See. Like that is the only one that could beat.
For
Suck It
me,
and
it
See
was the
for
first one where I was like in the hype for the build up for the whole thing, and it was like I became a proper like fanboy during that album. I think I've always liked them in some way.
They gave fuck all away though about what it was going to be. They did during that time.
No, that was the best thing because that little promo thing. There was a boo, boo, and the little
yeah.
getting ahead of myself.
The whole I'm sure you'll be on next series. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. But let's go into the Ghost Cookies for this one there.
Could say they're selling like ghost cookies.
So, all right. United Kingdom, 7 times platinum. Give us your guess of how many record sales there were, Justin and Simon, if you like.
Yeah. Given that it's still in the top 20, my friend sends me like the album charts and the singles charts every week because he works in the business.
Oh right.
And like the AM, I don't think has left the top 50 since it was released. It's still there now.
That's getting like Mr. Brightside level, isn't it?
Yeah. Trying to think how much platinum would be though.
Justin, I saw you on your phone there. I hope there's no skull.
I was trying to do the math times 7, so I was calculating. I'm gonna guess 4 million.
I love how, by the way, I forget that you're American and use phrases like skullduggery that I don't think maybe translate to American. But yeah, okay, 4 million. Simon, care to have a guess?
3.5 million.
You are both wrong, but Simon is the closest because in the UK, 7 times platinum, 2.1 million.
So how much is platinum then? Hang on. He's not going to use my calculator.
So 300,000 then? 300,000 would be platinum in the UK.
Yeah, it must be.
In my mind, platinum is like 500,000 because it feels like...
Yeah.
I feel like it will have... Will it have gone down or up?
It would have gone down. The platinum thing would have become like in the 60s. Platinum would have been fucking millions. Yeah, and now it just feels like it's 3. Yeah, you're in the top 10. Well done.
Yeah. 4 people streamed your track. You're number 1. Congratulations. But yeah, so there you go. But the US, Justin's homeland, 4 times platinum in the US.
4 million.
Oh, he's gone in there with confidence.
I'm going to say 3.5 million again because I'm refusing to use my calculator.
Justin is correct at 4 million. How can he be wrong with that confidence, that level of confidence? Australia, our criminal cousins, 2 times platinum. There's no Australians. 2 times platinum. 2 times platinum in Australia. A country big with land, but not a huge population. Just
I'm gonna say 100,000.
500,000.
140,000.
Oh, okay, all right.
Belgium, previously mentioned Belgium. Both sides of it brought together. Both sides in hand. Like me cracking down the wall as David Hasselhoff performs. They've come together. And gold, Belgium.
Oh, just gold.
Spandau Ballet, gold.
I'll say 50,000.
200,000.
15,000 gold in Belgium.
I have got no idea how many people are in these countries.
We might have streamed to that level already in Belgium, actually. I need to look at our numbers. We might have streamed that. But we might be gold in Belgium.
Wow.
So the neighbour of your homeland, Justin, Canada. 5 times platinum in Canada. Your neighbour, but our sovereign friend.
Yeah.
I guess.
More
culturally in line with us, I think, probably.
Probably. I'm gonna say 250. Oh wait, platinum.
5 times platinum.
5 times platinum. Then I'm gonna say 500,000.
500,050. I don't know.
you're that guy at the quiz, right? Okay.
I feel like I'm at an auction now. Every time Justin says something, I've got to go higher.
Yeah, my younger brother does that to annoy me. 400,000 is the answer.
Okay.
So if you got under the 50, the proprietors of Great Bacon, Denmark, 4 times platinum. Bacon and goalkeepers.
I'm gonna say 80,000.
120,000.
80,000 is bang on the money.
Nice.
Oh, France. Platinum. France. Platinum.
Just 1 time.
And I love Alex is love, but not a lover of mine, unfortunately.
I'll say 100,000.
90,000.
100,000 is bang on.
Oh yes!
You got practice
Take it to me. I'll let you go first next time. You go first next time.
Ireland, our friendly or not so friendly neighbours. Platinum.
75,000. That's too many people.
How many?
That's
What
way
was
too
the
many
platinum?
pounds.
Or what was the
Platinum.
just platinum? I'll
Yeah,
say 40,000.
No, it's 4 shamrocks. No, I'm joking. It's 15,000. Is the answer.
Oh, okay.
You went way too high considering you have a in-depth knowledge of the population of Ireland there. So, unfortunately, Wales never appears on this.
No, you know why?
Not fan of the
They're
Arctic Monkeys.
subjugated by the English.
Oh yeah. They get included in our numbers. Yeah. Italy, 3 times platinum. Italy, my now second home.
The Bunga Bunga land.
Hey,
50,000.
I will say 90,000.
150,000.
Oh,
Okay.
Dan, your poker face is awful.
Well, neither of you are really getting it right though, so it's not helping.
I said it. And you
Two
went,
straight on.
I'm performing for the people watching. You see, it's not all, but this is a performance. You see, I'm being coy.
Blur my face.
Mexico. Platinum plus gold, whatever that means. Only in Mexico. Platinum plus
so it's
gold.
platinum and a half. Yeah.
Platinum
and a
What
half.
that means. Yeah.
I'll say 150,000.
Yeah, 200,000.
No, if you'd gone with your guess for Italy, you would have been correct. It's 90,000.
Okay.
Roll up your joints. It's the Netherlands. Platinum. Cows and joints.
20,000.
30,000.
Ooh, Simon takes it. It's 50,000.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, no. New Zealand. 5 times platinum. Left-wing politics, but are they Arctic Monkeys fans? 5 times platinum.
It's quite a small population.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first.
Oh, thanks. 25,000.
I'll say 50,000.
75,000.
Wow.
Okay.
In my mind,
pretty
New
popular.
Zealand is like 10 people.
That's because you're a racist.
And they're all
Norway. Norway. Gold. I have nothing snarky to say about Norway. That's how little I know about it. Always believe in your soul.
45,000. No, that's too high.
I'm going to say 20,000.
15,000.
Oh,
okay.
Okay, last 2. Strap yourselves in. Poland. Platinum.
10,000.
10. Okay, so I'll get Simon does 10. I'll do 15.
The right-wing papers here would say they're all over here, so there's no one there to listen to it, but we don't listen to those bastards. They're the newspapers, not the Polish. Platinum is 20,000.
Okay.
What did I say?
10.
I can't remember.
Oh,
I was too busy having to snipe at our press. Okay, this is an interesting one here. Because I think Portugal is one where the American Justin lumped it in with Spain. I think, didn't he? Previously? Said, that's just Spain under a different. That's just Spain. Portugal, platinum in Portugal.
Platinum. I'm gonna say 15,000 again.
10,000.
7,000 will get you. So Sam takes it. Will get you platinum in Portugal. Yeah. And that's that. That's it. Let's get to some reviews. So obviously critical acclaim all round, but I thought we'd be remiss if we didn't briefly read the review from Enemy, seeing as though they're the kind of poster boys for Arctic Monkeys in this era. They gave it a 5-star out of 5, 5 stars out of 5s. And they said smart, randy, and touched by genius. So they went with the horny bit, Simon. So good old Enemy. The Sheffield's band's 5th album is an absolute triumph from start to finish. And the best part, they're just getting started. Well, some would say not so much. But Arctic Monkeys' 5th record is absolutely and unarguably the most incredible album of their career. It might also be the greatest record of the last decade. That's bold considering the Arctic Monkeys' first album is
all of their discography came out.
and a lot of other people's, obviously. It's not, however, the work of a band operating at their absolute peak. That's yet to come. It's the work of a band still growing, still fine-tuning, still learning, and still experimenting. A band who will not look back on this record as a career high, but as the moment they stopped being defined by genre and instead became artists. I actually agree with that, and I think that's apparent with the next albums, right? They are no longer defined by genre post this album. I think that is one thing we can definitely say. If they ever were. Not a rock band, definitely not an indie band, but artists. Think Bowie, think the Beatles, think Stevie Wonder, and think Bob Dylan. This is the dream review, this, isn't it, that you want? From this point on, Arctic Monkeys can do whatever they want, sound however they like, and always be Arctic Monkeys. They are right about that as well. But that's all for another day, sometime in their stupidly bright future. For now, we should celebrate this record for what it is, 41 minutes and 57 seconds of near perfection. Let's begin with the details. We'll skip that bit because we've already covered it. They say Chad Blake does the mixing, who worked on the Black Keys' 2010 breakthrough album Brothers. That must be awful for Black Keys to hear that Brothers was their breakthrough album when it's like their 8th album. But it was, I guess. It's a record about sex, lust, frustration, and isolation, and about getting really, really high. As you will have already read in NME, it's a total West Coast record that's as much late 90s hip-hop in sound as it is mid-70s rock. And the lyrics, at times they sound like they were written by a man with a burning hard-on who wants, or rather needs, to savagely fuck your body, mind, and soul. Okay. That man, of course, is Alex Turner, one of and only a handful of musicians, dead or alive, that it's not completely ludicrous to describe as an actual genius. On AM, as he has been for the past 18 months or so, he's channeling the spirit of another one of the select bunch, John Lennon. And we're not talking about the Hamburg Quiff here. Throughout the record, you can't get away from Lennon's presence, never more so than on Arabella, the cornerstone of the album, where Dre collides into Sabbath with the elegance of a horny drunk on a lost weekend. Alex's wordplay echoes the surrealism of I Am the Walrus or Come Together, announcing that Arabella's got some interstellar skin boots and a helter-skelter around her little finger, and I ride it endlessly, before slamming into a vocal delivery lifted straight from the chorus of Lennon's 1975 Old Grey Whistle Test recording of Stand By Me. Interesting. In keeping with the influences of the record, there's a whiff of Eminem in the way he rolls his elongated sentences, I think we've mentioned that, across a few lines of melody, finding rhymes in the middle of lines where less gifted songwriters wouldn't even think to look. For those, take your pick. We'll skip because they do go on here a bit. So yes, look at the score, listen to the record, and bask in the glory of knowing that while this may be chapter 5 of the complete history, it's the first act of the real golden age. I think they are spot on. Whatever you think of the coming eras, I think they're spot on, that this album was them. After this, they kind of released the shackles of what people expect. But then I think, have they ever cared? Like, I think on the Drumeo, Helder said that Humbug was them saying, if we get away with this one, we can do whatever we want after this, because we've completely changed it up. So I still think, and it's something I want to bring up at the end of this podcast, I still think for me, Humbug is the most important part of their career. For me,
I see AM more as like, I feel like they checked the box. I feel like they were like, we did it. We did, like, the first one wasn't some glitch or some stroke of luck. It almost was like, you know what? We did it all. Now we can do anything.
Yeah. Because like the first two came out in such quick succession, like a year after each other, or pretty much like 18 months of each other.
Yeah.
But they feel like 1 and 2, but like they've matured
kind of the same.
Same sort of sound, but pushed a bit further. And then Humbug, well, I remember hating Humbug for years. Like just when the singles.
Get off this podcast. I gotta get Christopher Gale writing in now. Go digging us out.
Weirdly, it was only the car tour where they did. What's the go-kart one? No, like to be
Potion Approach.
Yeah, when they did that, and I was like, oh yeah, that's on there. And then I went back and was like, fair play. It sounds like a whole thing. There's still a couple of songs on there that I don't like, but as a whole thing, it fits together, and also it doesn't. They help them not fall into the trap of just doing that one thing, like the Oasis and Strokes trap of just doing the same thing over and over again, like one album too many. If you know what I mean, like so they knew that they could change, and then some people have said that, or friends that I know, like Arctic Monkey, said that Suck It and See sounds like them almost trying to rein it in a bit and being a bit more accessible, but there's still stuff on there that is odd and doesn't fit in with like anything. You couldn't put anything from Suck It and See on the first two albums and have it blend in. There's still like a movement away from the sound that they started with.
Yeah, because there's this old industry thing that big bands do this thing where they do 1-2 albums similar, big hits, like big bands that have these big hits, and then the third album is experimental, and then the fourth album is back to basics. And I feel like some people think they did that, but I agree with you that I don't think they did. They didn't go back to basics with the fourth album. They just went back to a live
different path.
But it definitely is a different sound and an advancement of the sound.
And then and again, from Suck It and See to this, there's almost a deliberate, a properly deliberate, right? We're going to do it like this now. All these songs will sound like this. There's like maybe like a couple like Mad Sounds, and maybe I Want to Be Yours, like the outliers from those, but they're all very much like they sound like they were all recorded in one mind, with one mindset. Like we're doing this, we're going that way, which is what you want from a band, really, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's like that statement they said, like Bowie, like the Beatles, stuff like that. It's not being defined by what the fans think you should be. I think is the key to any artist. There's too many bands that do get defined by that, and then they just put shit out for years. And it's why Humbug, like that change is why Arctic Monkeys aren't one of these bands from 2006 now that are just touring small gigs, doing the first album set, that kind of thing. So. But we'll pick that up at the end, shall we? I guess we kind of slipped into general thoughts on AM, which. No. It was me. I asked you. We slipped into general thoughts from AM there, which is good because that's the next part of the show. But to get us the ball rolling, shall we hear Christopher Gale's general thoughts on AM, and then we can jump in, see what he has to say if he's not shouting at us for once. So here we go.
Just a sort of bit of background. So for me, when this album was released, I had not long, just a couple of weeks before it turned 18, and I would have to go and double check the dates, but I'm pretty sure this album was also released on the exact same day that I started university. So big time in my life that this album was released, and big time in the history of the band overall as well. So very much synced up in that respect. So because it was my first year at uni, I'm going out a lot, 3, maybe 4 times a week. This album's getting played before it, during it, and after it. It was a perfect album for listening to when you're getting ready to go out. If we're going to parties at flats or houses, or even on like pub jukeboxes, a lot of the songs on this record are getting stuck on. And then I think it's a perfect album to listen to at the end of a night out as well. I think I vaguely remember, was it Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, not long after the album was released, describing it as the perfect after midnight records, and I couldn't agree more. I think if a lot of people talk about the first album being a concept album, about being a night out in general, which I sort of understand. I think Dan has on the pod disagreed with that, and I sort of disagree as well. There are certain songs that match that, but I think overall it doesn't. And I think you could say the same about this one being about an after midnight record. A lot of the tracks do sort of go into that sort of category. A lot of them don't, but I can see why. Yeah, I think 100% the sound of it, the whole vibe is very much in it for me, an after midnight record. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, more general thoughts. So some tracks for me are easily, if I was to make a list of my favourite Arctic Monkeys songs from 1 to however many they've got, a lot of the tracks on this would easily be top 10. But some of the others, to be honest, would be near the bottom, 20% or so. But yeah, overall, I absolutely love the album. I think it's great. I think it captures a moment in my life which I'll never forget, and it soundtracked that perfectly. I want to just give a shout out. I don't know if you've spoken much at all on the pod about any across all the albums about the album artwork, and I just want to say that the AM album artwork is probably they've been pretty hit or miss for me on the album covers, but this one's got to be by far and away the best. It's iconic. It's one of those ones now that everybody knows what it is. It's so simple. Yeah, I don't know how else to say other than iconic. You know, you see it on T-shirts, posters, people get it tattooed on themselves. It's just perfect for that. I love how it's the AM radio signal, carrier wave, whatever you want to call it, but also it's AM for the band. I think that's just the sort of chef's kiss on that. So I think brilliant on the artwork. A massive shout out to that. I would say, I'm not too, I know you're asking for a hot take potential at the end. I don't think this is a hot take, it's probably a cold take to be honest, but I would say this has got to be the biggest album. Maybe not so much in the UK, their debut probably takes that mantle, but overall across the world, this is by far the biggest record. I don't think they'll ever beat it in that respect. When you see the amount of streams and everything that it's got, it's huge. Bands, to be a guitar band in this day and age, okay, this album was released 12 years ago now, but I think we'll class that as this day and age. To be a guitar band, to do what they've did on this record is mad. It's incredible, and yeah, it's a brilliant record.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. That was his general thoughts. We will be hearing from him again throughout. To pick up on a couple of things there, I think in terms of the biggest albums, actually, it's funny he says that about in the UK, the first album still being the biggest, because I had a conversation with someone at a party about a month ago, and they were saying to me, we're talking about Arctic Monkeys, and they were like, oh yeah, but the biggest stuff is like, the first album and Mardy and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, actually, no, AM is the bigger album, like, technically, worldwide. And he was like, yeah, but no, that the first album. And I just left it. I didn't want to I'm not 18 anymore, so I won't get into a fight about it. But I just left it. I was like, okay. But I think in this country, I think it's fair to say, would you say, Simon, that those songs still hold the mantle as like, that's, and Favourite Worst Nightmare, to be fair, as well, Teddy Picker, all that kind of stuff. That's what he meant as well. It still holds that top spot in people's minds about peak Arctic Monkeys, even though AM was huge.
And I think that is true, because I used to DJ, and if you put on any of because the first two albums have got fast songs, you know what I mean? So you put on any of those and the dance floor immediately, just everyone there jumping up and down. Even like Brainstorm, which is impossible to dance to, but people just But
remember those days?
But then I think a lot of the songs that came after are slower, so they're less likely to be played in clubs. So if you go out to an indie club, you'll still hear Bela Girl on the Dance Floor, Fluorescent Adolescent, on all those ones, and at the end they'll play Mardy Bum to get people out the door and happy. But I think as a case, there's not really any, as you would say, bangers, danceable bangers on the later albums. But so I think that's a big part of why those first two albums are still so loved in Britain, because they are just a soundtrack to a night out. And when you're out, they're played almost constantly.
And to be fair to Chris there, so he there said he was 18 when AM came out, so he's about 30-ish now. I'm 35, soon to be 36.
I was 36 when AM came out.
Really? Wow, I wouldn't have so
I did the calculation.
Wow. So so I'm facing that. So I feel like, and the guy I was speaking to at the party was 35. So obviously when we were 18, the first album was out, and we were like 16, 17, 18. So for us, it will, I guess, always be bigger. Well, not for me, but for everyone of that generation, it will always be the bigger one, because it was the album that you went, like you say, in the clubs, you go out to and all that. But I guess like the younger kids now going out, they will recognize the AM songs more, right? Because they've had these TikTok revolutions and 505 and I bet 505 ends a few nights because it had that TikTok and I Want to Be Yours and stuff. So I guess it depends what generation you're from, I guess, as well. When you're going out and stuff, but certainly globally, AM obviously takes the thing. Like you're Justin, you're like you were into Arctic Monkeys from the beginning because you were given that CD at a party by a friend's auntie or something that was in England. And,
Yeah.
I do listen. And well, I listen and then I edit the podcast and then I listen to it again when we put it out. So, seeps in eventually. But so I guess, but you would say obviously everyone else, AM is the album that people will know the tracks from in America and places if you were to outside of your
generally, but I mean there still are a lot that are recognized, but I mean if you're talking album wise, then I would probably say AM. But I mean I was walking around in Korea not too long ago and Cornerstone was playing and I was like, what the hell? Like and still, Fluorescent Adolescence.
It's on the wrong album. It's on the wrong album.
I was really excited. But Fluorescent Adolescence you'll hear it in places randomly and so I do think that globally a lot of the songs that maybe held more weight from the first album just don't as much. I mean, like Marty Bum. Like Marty Bum is not gonna be as iconic or recognizable to the global audience as much as most of the Do I Want to Know for sure, so I mean I do think AM generally does have the more global recognizable songs overall.
There's probably some retroactively going back once AM was a hit for people going back and listening to the early stuff, I imagine, that became fans. But I don't like Mardy Bum, that's very much a cult English British song, isn't it? Because even I think I said it on the pod the other week. I was in a place and they had a karaoke night, and my girlfriend's cousin decided to do Mardy Bum on the karaoke for me, and did it to me. But the whole bar, everyone knew every word. The whole bar of it, so it's just that kind. And there was a wide array of ages in that bar, ranging from 60 to bloody 18. So it was it's one of those cult classics, I guess. But also on that you said about the jukebox, that even now that last Thursday I went out impromptu to celebrate something, and I was in this bar that has a jukebox, and there was no one else in there because it's the kind of bar that it has the latest license to sell alcohol, so it gets busy at around midnight till 2 when everywhere else shuts. But this was 7 p.m, so it was empty. So I had the lay of the jukebox. I was drunk. I was happy. I was celebrating, and I went to it. And I really wanted to put some other stuff on, but I ended up just putting on knee socks and stuff like that. I just sort of reverted to type. So that's true. If I'm at a jukebox, it's still AM is probably the one. I don't really put the first album on the jukebox, funnily enough, for some reason anymore. Even though back in the day I would have. Absolutely, but I would have been at your DJ booth back in the day, Simon. I would have been going, can you play Certain Romance? I'm sick of dance floor. Everyone, you always play dance floor. Can we play Certain Romance?
Later, don't worry. That's
you go later. Yeah.
If they ask for the doors, I'd be like, absolutely not.
And I think because Arctic Monkeys were this huge band, I used to get a sigh as well, another Arctic Monkeys fan. I'm like, no, but I'm a proper one. And I just wanted to touch on the artwork thing as well, because I do think we don't talk about the artwork much on this podcast. Actually, is the one thing we probably forget. We will do a rating of the artworks, I suppose, when we're done. But he did say that this is the best one he thinks of the whole lot. I think it's good for the album. I have a soft spot for. I mean, the first album's brilliant, just as a kind of capture of British culture, right at the time. Like that guy smoking, it's absolutely fantastic. But I think I have a soft spot for the Humbug one, with the band there and that sort of blurry image and held in his white hoodie. I really like that.
I think that's a good representation of the album.
Sure, yeah.
Like
with the denim jackets.
The band, but a bit skewed. Yeah. And a bit messed up.
But honestly, Public Tranquility is now probably my favourite one, just because it's so created and curated by.
And the little booklet in the middle is really nice with the projector overlay things you could.
That's my favorite vinyl, actually.
This feels like a bit of a waste of space. I'm holding up for the listeners. I'm holding up the vinyl of AM, and it just feels like there's nothing. There could be something there. But
Tranquility is the best vinyl, I think, in terms of what they put together for it. But
I would say Tranquility, is the best, and the color palette too. I love that kind of golden
the vinyl
orange that they use.
I got the silver one.
The silver one, yeah. What colour's the AM vinyl? Is that just black and white?
This is like a reissue one.
What's the one that's like a lovely purple colour? Is that the Are You Mine single?
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
Are You
that's a
Mine
great
is
colour, that
purple,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that vinyl. I don't own it, but I look admiring pictures of it on Google Images, hoping that one day I'll pay like 80 quid to get it or something. So yeah, the artwork on this is very on point, I would say, for this album. But we kind of got, I guess, the general thoughts thing. It's up to you guys. We can either go into our different lists now, or we can give some general thoughts. I mean, I guess me and Justin have probably shared that already, but Simon, what over the course of the last 14 weeks, but Simon, what is AM to you? So I'm assuming you're just going to say fairly skippable, like you have been for the past.
No, well, balls out of the bath on this one. When
Lovely
it
Partridge
came
reference,
out,
excellent.
yes, when it came out, I don't think I was aware that it was out, because at the time I must have been listening to music, but I don't know. 2013 was a weird year. I was in a very strange place, North London, a weird place anyway. But
Home of the Spurs.
yeah, close to there probably.
Nice.
But I only heard "Do I Want to Know" and "Why Johnny Call Me When You're High" when they were in the charts, because I never didn't listen to the radio anymore. And I was in a car being driven somewhere, and it was a Sunday afternoon, so the charts was on. And I've got a Facebook post from 2013 when this happened saying, I've heard two new Arctic Monkey songs, and they sound like the same song being played at different speeds. And I was convinced that, like, "Do I Want to Know" was just "Why Johnny Come When You're High" slowed down. And it was like, that was the problem I have with it for a while, was that things are too similar. But now it seems like that is part of the idea, like there is a whole thing. But yeah, my skippable comments were, I mean, look at the songs.
I think they were
So,
fair tracks, apart from Fireside. I think they were fair tracks.
like Mad Sounds and I Want It All, just even like One for the Road, even One for the Road's got the opening. After a while, I think they just sort of merge into one sort of. I think because sometimes the sound is too similar, maybe. Just contradicting myself again there.
Well, no, you're in. I think you're in step with the consensus on those tracks. I remember me and Justin kind of defended One for the Road a bit, didn't we, in the episode, because there was some thoughts out there. But I think I even said as well, my only concern was "Do I Want to Know Are You Mine" are quite similar, and then One for the Road, Arabella are quite similar next to each other. And I thought that would actually bother Justin, but it didn't. So yeah, I get it.
But again, it is like they've not made two albums the same. Even like Tranquility Base, Hotel Casino, and The Car are quite similarly in terms of, obviously, in tempo and mature content, but without it being swearing. You know what I mean? They're not talking about having a fight in the chip shop at 2:00 in the morning anymore, which was, I think, was the weird thing that all the comments you see on Facebook or whatever go, "Oh, why can't they just go back and do the first album again?" Because they're 40 and they live in LA. They don't go to chip shops anymore. They don't go to nightclubs where such things happen. They go to sexy nightclubs where, I don't know, people do things.
Yeah, you'll know from this pod that's my whole thing that frustrates me is what, even if they didn't live in LA or anywhere and they still lived in Sheffield, like I've lived in Manchester from 18 to 40, and there's no way I talk about the same stuff that I do. Then, like, it just doesn't. That's not how life works. If your life does mean that you're exactly the same at 18 to 40, then you're doing life wrong.
Yeah,
and you're really small.
You're just doing the same things you've done your
yeah.
entire life.
Yeah, you're not growing as a human being in any way from that. So yeah, I agree.
But I think this was the album where they got the they've all gone all American. They like American things now. He combs his hair up into a quiff, and it just feels like this was the one where it must be that the Tall Poppies thing where you get to a certain level and you have to be chopped down.
Yes,
I'm surprised the Enemy was so gung ho on this album, because it feels like this was the album they were going for, like, global recognition. Like there's very little colloquialisms in this. Like there was on this run of the podcast, there's been no or very few British alarm things of there. Not as many as the early ones may have been.
Not as many, but
Oh,
we've
surprising
found...
amount, actually.
Yeah, because I've been a big pusher of that. This, although global, it isn't. There's a lot of Britishisms in there still.
I Want to Be Yours, their biggest song.
I suppose Summit.
Meter
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Summer in Your Teeth. Yeah. There's a lot of, I can't think of them off the top of my head right now, but there was actually quite a few in there. Why do you want to call them when? Hi, did that have a Britishism in it? Maybe, but or was it just set in London in the video?
Shite.
I
I
can't
need to
remember
say
what it was.
shite.
Talking the
Shite,
same
yeah,
shit,
shite,
yeah.
shite, yeah. There you go.
But it feels like they're a bit smoothed out. Like the music feels more American.
Well,
Like,
yeah. Although
like
they,
hip
I mean,
hop
they
in it.
deny that, but I think they're wrong on that. Like they'll say, like, because do you remember there was a story we told that the label from Domino heard "Why Do You Want to Call Me When You're High" and said that's the most American sound you've ever done, and they revealed that they'd recorded it in Wales or something like that. Like yeah. Like so, I guess it's all the concept. But I think definitely they're going for that West Coast vibe, right, from a hip hop perspective. So absolutely, I think this is the most sort of American hip hop sounding album.
But I get the
I think
idea. If
yeah.
they continued this way, like doing more sort of hip hoppy things, then they would have become more successful. And there may not have been that whole, oh, why didn't they go back to doing songs like they used to? Like it feels like this was a new, like that Enemy review said, like a new start, but a new place for them to jump off from. I think everyone thought they were just going to do AM Part 2 because it was so successful all around the world, and it wasn't like the first album that was. It must have been successful in other countries, but not as successful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
But I
took me a
think you're right
while
about
to warm to it as a whole thing. But the
now
whole
you
album,
are.
yeah. Now I love it, and I can't
Okay.
live without it. No, but it's like for me with all their albums, all of them have seemed like growers in terms of all the singles are all really immediate and they're all really
Yeah.
and all really really good. But then some of the album songs take a while for me to like listen to them and go, and then
Yeah.
like the third or fourth listen, it'll be implanted and I can't get it out.
Growers, not showers.
Yeah.
But
I think that's good because again, as I say, it's not bubblegum, it's not immediate hits. Oh, I love this. I'm gonna listen to it again and again and again, and then you're pig sick of it by the end of the week.
I think that was my favorite thing about Tranquility was that it took me time. It wasn't when I first heard Start Treatment. It wasn't like I went, oh great. I went like, oh, what the fuck's going on here? This is
Those drums are very
different.
poorly recorded.
This feels out of step or out of tune. We'll talk about that obviously next season, but it took time and that's what I like. But you're right about the whole cutting people down. I mean, I've said this loads of times. I've tried to explain it to Justin because I feel like in America when someone's successful, they build them up even more, whereas we go, no, get back in your place. You can't be too big. So it's something we do, and it's something we're aware of. Particularly like towards the north more, maybe as well, like where they're from. I'm sure they're very aware of it.
Well, there was that thing, wasn't it? Hello, Alex. How was LA or wherever? That bit of graffiti in Sheffield.
Graffiti in Sheffield, yeah. I mean, I think it's a bit dramatic, isn't it? I mean, I always think, right, okay, so you're in a world famous rock band, you have the opportunity to live in LA. You saying no, yeah? You saying, no, I'd like to stay here in Sheffield, thanks. Maybe some of them would, but they're the people, they're the artists that don't like go to the next level. Are the ones like, do you remember like the Enemy? I remember I've told this story before, but the Enemy singer, the Enemy band, the ENEMY, he put on Twitter back in Twitter's like early heydays that Alex Turner had sold out his roots. And me and my friend commented just saying to him, like, imagine the lead singer of the Enemy trying to dig you out when you're in the Arctic Monkeys and stuff. And he commented back to us saying bell ends and blocked us. So, but I hate
look at him now.
I hate that concept of selling out your roots. I hate that. It's such an English, like, silly, like any kind of growth means that you've sold out your roots, you know? As long as you're not actively,
I think this album represents that.
Sheffield
though.
and shutting them down or something, like then you're selling out your roots. If you're purposely going, I'm not working class anymore. I mean, they were never working class anyway. They were like Alex's parents were teachers. He was very much middle class, I would say, probably. But yeah, I don't know.
I think this album kind of represents that. And the last thing, like the kind of general consensus I'll say after just, we've talked about it for several months, is that there's something very satisfying about this album being the bookend of what the previous 4 albums were. Like this whole journey all together, this album ends it really well. And I'm really actually now looking back, really glad that they had a 5-year gap and what came after was completely different, because as a whole, this like 5-album journey with all the B-sides and everything, it's almost like a kind of movie in the sense of like a you get a lot of these coming of age stories where a young person becomes an adult, but this feels almost like such a perfect journey and representation of what it's like to go from being a teenager until like your late 20s. Like I think each album represents that, and even the idea of the different genres and everything. I mean, most people do like go through a sense of exploration and finding what you like and what you don't like, and sometimes you're really moody and sometimes you're just living in love songs and when you fall in love, and I feel like the journeys of the album represent that so well. And this like kind of ends where it begins with, again, it's another night out, it's still like trying to hook up, but it's mature. It's like you've grown, you're still kind of the same person, but you're not, because it's 10 years later and you're different. You've gone through your moody phase and your love phases and all that stuff. But it's that perfect mixture of growth, but you have a core of who you are. And I just think that this album, stopping here, representing parts of the first album, being its own thing, taking elements of all the previous albums, I think it's the perfect kind of end to that journey for me.
Yeah, me too. And I've said before that through line, I think we're probably going to do a podcast on it on the break, that through line of the first 5 albums to get here. But particularly, whatever people say I am, 2 a.m., they are akin, you right. It's that they're both similar themed about going out, having a good time, but trying to meet people, stuff like that in a lot of the songs. But it's different. It's the 18-year-old version of that and the 26-year-old version of that, and they're both very different. Dingy nightclubs to bars, that kind of thing. And that's why I'm not surprised leading into the next era that, I think people forget that he goes from 26 to 31 in that break, and that is a big change. And, obviously I relate to that album a lot because, like you said, Simon, before, I, at the age you said about being, when this came out, being in a weird place, I was in a weird place when Tranquility came out. And like that thing of, standing around in bars, talking shite and all that. I think that's an early 30s kind of thought process where you're like, hang on, I'm still doing this thing of just going out, getting stuff all the time. What am I doing with my life? And I mean, he doesn't need to worry about that because he's in one of the most successful bands in the country, really. But I guess we all do. So yeah, I think that change is so big. And I do think people forget about the span of it all over time and your age, including going into the next era as well. So yeah, I don't know, people, man, can't trust them coming to rate anything. But I think that's a good place to start doing the list. Shall we go into that?
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with the run of 3 best tracks. Now, should we play Chris's, because Chris kind of encapsulates everything that I thought about this, because we did this on the last era, and I don't know if we've done it before, but I personally found this the hardest to pinpoint the best run of 3 tracks, apart from the most obvious one is what I ended up going for, I feel. But some people's may be different, but I think Chris perfectly encapsulates my thoughts, so I will hop on the back of his thoughts and say this is exactly what I mean. But let's have a listen.
Best run of 3 tracks you've got here. I found this really tough, to be honest, because like I said, there are some amazing tracks, but I wouldn't necessarily say there's a run of 3 10 out of 10 songs in a row on the record at any point. It's something which we'll come on to when you ask me to rate the albums in order, but it's probably something that I would say that a lot of the band's records suffer from a little bit. They're not the best maybe at quality control when it comes to the track listing on the records. I know Justin has maybe had the same complaint in the past before. On this one, I've sort of thought about it, because my favourite on the record's Knee Socks, but I would say the two songs that are on either side of it are probably my two least favourite songs on the record, so I can't say that. The middle of the record, I love Mad Sounds, I love Fireside, and I love Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High as well. That was in the running, but I've decided in the end to go for the opening three. Do I Want to Know, Are You Mine, One for the Road? Because I think the opening two songs are so iconic now, and I can't listen to one without hearing the other starting right after it, if you know what I mean. And the same with Are You Mine, when that finishes, I can hear instantly the background vocals from One for the Road. It's not one of my favourites on the record, that one, but still really, really enjoy the track. So I've gone for those. It was a tough call on this one. There's some much easier selections on other albums of theirs, but I think the opening three, it sort of sums up the record. You know, it gives you the sound, the slow sort of moody sexiness of Do I Want to Know, into the more rockier with the sort of different lyrical patterns, if you for wanting a better word, for Are You Mine, and then to the more sort of hip hoppy R&B sound musically of One for the Road. I think that sort of as a 1, 2, 3 sort of gives you a good taste of what's to come.
So I kind of encapsulates everything that I thought. I was like, well, I love I Want to Be Yours and These Socks, but I don't like Snap Out of It. I don't think although I do like Mad Sounds, and I like Fireside and High, I don't think they can be the strongest. They can't be. Like, Mad Sounds is not one of the stronger ones on the album. And then the same problem with Arabella number 1 and Mad Sounds, and then I'm like, so I settled on the same thing, which is I actually quite like One for the Road. So, and the first two tracks are quite iconic, obviously, so it makes sense for them to be the run of best 3 tracks. But it's a really tough one on this album.
Yeah, I have the exact same run. As you know, I also really like One for the Road. And yeah, those first two are just so iconic, like you said. Now, I will propose something, because we kind of talked about it, especially on the I Want to Be Yours episode. And especially, I feel a lot of people feel this way about this album, this is definitely like a repeat album. This is one where as soon as it ends, you can start it again. So if you really wanted to do it, you could almost say, I Want to Be Yours, Do I Want to Know, Are You Mine, could be a great run. But no, I mean, strictly speaking about, not breaking the rules in that way, then I also have the first 3 tracks.
Now, Simon, you said before that you're not a fan of One for the Road so much, so this is going to be interesting to say what 3 tracks you have picked.
So I've basically gone for the last 3. I've gone for Snap Out of It, Knee Socks, and I Want to Be Yours, because I like the last 2 so much, and Snap Out of It is all right.
That's fair, yeah.
I do think Chris was right that there's a lot of 2 songs, really good songs put together, and then there's some lesser songs around them. I'm not sure if that is done deliberately in the track listing, so it's not front loaded. Like, because a few albums I could name are really like all the bangers at the beginning, then it sort of tails off towards the end. Whereas this has got like Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High, Knee Socks, and I Want to Be Yours at the end of like the second side, with Snap Out of It in between those, and that just feels, obviously it's deliberate, but they're like I said about the arrangements, they're the way they put the albums together is really clever as well. Like, there's never 4 songs all the same sort of instrumentation altogether. Like, they do sort of dip things in and out, and there are sort of dropouts and slower songs and things. I think their arranging of albums is one of the best things about them.
Yeah, I do like the flow, to be honest with you. But I think the 3 tracks on this one is the hardest one, because it's quite easy. Like, Favorite Worst Nightmare for me, I think, was quite easy. Is it like This House is? I can't remember actually. Maybe
Do Me a Favor. This House is a Circus.
The Circus.
And,
If You Were There, Beware. I mean, what a run of 3. That's like, okay, that's easy for me. And then Humbug, I think, was fairly easy as well. And same for Suck It and See. I already know what those 3 are going to be, but Yeah, this one is difficult. And do you know something I said on an episode a couple of weeks ago that I just sort of said on the fly that sort of stayed with me is because of the way this album's produced and it's got all these kind of hits on it, but because of the way they've structured it, and it is, I feel like this is never an album that a fan, like a big fan of the band, can love. You ask anyone like me, Suck It and See, Justin Favourite Worst Nightmare, you Tranquility, Chris Humbug. I'd never spoken to anyone who I would consider like a fan, and they've said AM's their favourite album.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't feel like it's the kind of album that you can truly love as a fan. It's an album you like and respect and enjoy listening to, but it's not like you could go, oh, that's the one that I
think
adore.
it lacks a little bit of the emotional depth that people lock
Yeah.
into to say it's my favorite. You know,
Yeah,
there's
I
usually
think
something
you're
about
right.
your favorite
Yeah.
album that deeply
Cold, isn't it?
resonates with you. And I think this one, the way we talked about it being recorded and the way it sounds, it's almost a little too sterile and clean to have that kind of emotional resonance.
I say it was cold rather than sterile. Sterile makes it sound like it is like lab grown.
Yeah, cold.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
cold is like yeah, or
It is
just sort
cold
of
musically and
like laser,
yeah.
almost like laser focused to the point of just
Yes.
like a tunnel vision sort of thing.
I think I Want to Be Yours is like as close as it gets to being warm, really, lyrically, isn't it?
Yeah.
By the way, I
Amazing
Want to Be
right
Yours
color.
is one of the big Britishisms, obviously, on the album, being a John Cooper Clarke poem.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Earlier
comments from the record.
Yeah. They're out there forever. I say stuff every week. I heard myself say at the start of the Stop the World episode this week that I wouldn't put You're So Dark on the album, and I was like, why are you saying that? That's not true. You're going to retract that next week. I know you are. Why have you said those words in the moment? You idiot. I could edit it out, I guess. I'll stick to my words. But yeah, no, I think that's right. It is cold lyrically, and you think you've hit the nail on the head there, Justin. There's no emotional depth to it, really, is there? And I think Mad Sounds is like as close as it gets as well, but that's like about music, right? Not a person, so you don't really resonate in the same way. But yeah, okay. So there are runs of 3. I think yours is like we all went for the same one, but I think yours, Simon, is like the next kind of logical one, I suppose. If you like snap out of it a bit, it's just we viscerally dislike that so much that I do think if Stop the World was on the album instead of Snap Out of It, those 3 probably would have taken it for me.
And that what you said in the Stop the World episode about Why Do You Call Me When You're High and Stop the World being so good together as a single really works like one after the other, and I think it would have been preferable to have it on maybe with a few better words in the verses.
Yeah, that's the other problem with it lyrically, isn't it? But unfortunately, thanks to Pete, what was his name, that took Snap Out of It out of the bin and told them to do it.
Thomas.
Pete Thomas, yeah. Unfortunately, we'll never know.
Cheers, Pete.
Cheers, Pete. Thanks for that. Snap Out of It would have been a great B-side, I think. There you go. But we can defend that in the list. So I guess we are at the lists here, aren't we? So I have Chris's email, and when I do have recordings from him as well on certain tracks to give us his thoughts on the tracks as we go. But shall we start with the bottom? We'll go reverse order, obviously, of our least favourite tracks on the album. So Chris went with Snap Out of It, and shall we listen to what he thought of that?
What I certainly don't like is Snap Out of It. When the album first came out, I didn't mind it, but I was lucky enough to go and see the band 3 times on the last tour, and I'm pretty sure they played it every night. And it just I could go and see the Monkees, and they could go and play 3 songs that are my 3 least favourite songs, and I'll still walk away happy because I've seen what I consider to be the best band in the world. But to play Snap Out of It every night, I just think they could fill that with something much, much better. And I think they are guilty a little bit of that on their set lists being a bit too boring a little bit at times, dare I say. But still, I just don't. I'm not a big fan of that song, and I think maybe that comes into it being overplayed. I've heard it so many times now. If I was never to hear the song again, I probably wouldn't be too bothered, both live and the studio version.
Yeah. So I'll say mine Snap Out of It as well. You know why we had the episode. I just feel it's not consistent with the rest of the album, and there's something about the backing vocals and the piano that really turns me off the track. And the fact that there was this other version that they couldn't get done that meant they binned it makes me think that there was this more kind of bass drum groove version of that existed that they couldn't make work, that got put away, and then obviously Pete Thomas came in and they worked on it differently, which is kind of interesting to think. But I just don't. For me, it just doesn't work, and it's like a fan favorite though, and it gets kept in the set list, like you said, which I think they are guilty of, like you said, keeping songs in there that could be put out to pasture now. But yeah, not for me. But I think Justin might be the same, so we'll go to Justin next before we go to Simon. Justin, what's your least favorite on the list? Number 12?
You're incorrect. My number 12 is gonna. I know my number 12 is.
You've sold out your roots
Sounds.
from the previous episode.
my roots. My number 12 is gonna be Mad Sounds, and what I'll say about that is, like, on paper, like, you know, when we talked about it, we like, oh, the way he's referencing these things is, you know, emotional. He's talking about music, and we like music too and stuff like that, and that's all well and good, but just like as a song, just like, you know, this is a song that I would like. When you're not analyzing it, I just don't want to listen to Mad Sounds that much. I'm never craving to listen to it, and when I do, it's really not until that last minute where it really kind of does anything for me. And so, like, I feel like if I ever had, if you took each album and you said you got to cut one song that you can never listen to ever again, from each, I feel like I would be okay if I just never heard Mad Sounds again. Now, I don't hate it by any means. It's not a terrible song. It just doesn't really do a whole lot for me. So Mad Sounds is my least favorite.
Okay, interesting. Okay, we'll touch on that in a minute. I mean, I'm surprised Snap Out of It isn't the one that you wouldn't pick, that you never listen to again, because of the discussion that we had, but you must be willing to give it a second try if you were to listen to it again. But we don't really know much about Simon's list apart from extremely skippable. So Simon, I think I know what you might have, and I don't think it is going to be either of the other choices. So
it is Mad Sounds.
It's Mad Sounds, okay.
Because it is like the outlier of the album, like, just it doesn't sound like anything else on the album, and it's quite boring, and it feels like the sort of thing you would write when you need one more song. It's very sort of ADE and very oh yeah, but this will be all right, yeah, and the ending is really good. Like when I commented that it was very skippable, and then you both had a go at me, I was like, all right. I listened to it again, and it was like for the next day or two, I had the ooh la 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 stuck in my head. So I was like, oh right, it's catchy, but I think it's just very. I think it doesn't help that I think the first time I heard it was that Glastonbury performance, and it was like they were playing the same song but at different speeds, or it was all over the place, and it was just a bit.
Yeah, that was the Glastonbury, the 2013 one. Yeah,
that one. Yeah,
we
I remember watching it going.
Yeah.
They cut it
out of the live show, but me and Justin watched it for subscribers at the end of the Mad Sounds episodes, didn't we? And it is fucking awful. Like, it is terrible.
It's really bad.
Yeah. That's a band that has just finished it in the studio and not rehearsed it enough and played it. Like, oh no shit.
Was it keyboards that were just all over? It was like the keyboard player was like in a different.
Yeah, he was different. He was in a different key. He was in a complete. The keyboard player it wasn't actually their fault, actually, because once Helders came in the second half, it picked up a bit, but the keyboard player was in completely the wrong key, and it threw everyone else off, I think.
I remember being in someone's house watching it and going, what the fuck is that?
This was before the album was out, so it was like,
yeah. This is what their new album sounds like. They're taking music to strange new places.
And then they did in 5 years. But I look, I'm not gonna. So I'll go next. Number 11 for me is Mad Sound, so I'm not gonna defend it in any kind of way too much. I just dislike Snap Out of It viscerally a lot more. Like, I'll never listen to Snap Out of It. I never listen to it if I can avoid it. We listened to it for the episode, and there was parts of it that I did like, but Mad Sounds, the redeeming quality for me when we covered it is I really like the second half once it kicks in, and I think the idea of it being an ode to music is kind of sweet, and I kind of like that, and it is I've got to get this right, because not only do I always get it wrong, but Chris in one of his voice notes tells me off for getting it wrong, is Lou Reed, it sounds like.
Yes,
And
Lou
Yeah.
Reed, yes.
yeah,
Like,
right. Okay. He tells
Walking
me
on
off in one of the
Love
voice notes
is-
for keep saying. I always say Leonard Cohen for Lou Reed, and I always say Lou
Switch
Reed
them,
for
yeah.
Leonard Cohen. So for some reason, but it's. I think it does sound like that, and that's the problem. You know, the only Arctic Monkey songs that I have problems with are usually ones that sound like something else, because for me they're the kind of band where you hear it and you go, "Oh, that doesn't really sound like much else." And I know, Justin, you're going to hold that comment in the bank for Arabella when we get to it, but that's the exception to the rule for me. But yeah, I put it at number 11 because it isn't as good as the rest. It kind of like by proxy, because you know, I don't know about you guys, but doing this list, I found I first did a version of it when I was on holiday, and I kind of mulled around with that, and then I did one 2 days ago and finalized it. I found the first three fell into place for me really easily, and the last three fell into place for me really easily, and then that middle sort of six was where I was umming and ahhing and going, "Oh, should that one be above that one? Should that one be above that one?" That's where I really struggled to put this list together.
Yeah.
Um,
I wrote
that's-
my list on Monday, and you can't see it, but there's a lot of scribblings out and a lot of arrows moving things around.
Yeah, as I go, I'll explain where I swapped some around, because I was like, oh no, so I had to listen to those tracks back to back, like, and assess it as I went. But that was my number 11, Mad Sounds. So Simon, what's your number 11?
My number 11 is Fireside, because
That
it's
was
just
yes,
a bit
yes, you
I
said
can't
Extremely Skippable for
even
that as well.
even I listened to the album this morning, and all I can remember is and it just seems like that's all it is in my mind. Just again, like a very, not using the word plain, but like it's not a lot of hooks that you would. I suppose there are when you think about it, but nothing that jumps out, nothing that makes me want to listen to it over and over again.
Do you know what's really funny about that though? Because it was actually that we had. I think we accepted Mad Sounds when you said Extremely Skippable, but I
Yeah.
think it was Fireside that shocked us more, because we both really liked it. But I think, and when we get to it in our list, obviously we'll discuss it a bit more in depth. But I think what's interesting about that is that you said that you originally didn't like. Did you say you originally didn't like Humbug, and you came back to it years later?
Humbug, yeah.
And we equated Fireside to being the most Humbug like of the
Yeah,
songs
I
on
remember,
this.
yeah.
Yeah. And I actually think what we said about lack of emotional depth on the album a moment ago is this is probably one of the closest actually where I can feel in his lyrics a bit more, because we kind of assessed that maybe it's about that breakup and that switch and that kind of perhaps Alexa to Ariel. I can feel that in the lyrics a bit more for me, but we'll talk about it when we get to it a bit more about that, I guess. But yeah, interesting. Very interesting list. See, no, it's always good because me and on the previous list we were always aligned, and Justin had come in and throw bombs in there on the list, so it's always good to have different options on there. So Justin, your number 11.
So my number 11 is going to be I Want It All.
What the fuck? Your list is way off what's happened on this series so much. He slagged off Snap out of it so much.
Now, I think you say that, but I don't. I think these things live in your mind a certain way.
No. I listened to these episodes 3 times, Justin, and I do it live. I edit.
So here's what I will say too. As I said, I actually defended I Want It All because it gets so much hate. But at the same time, I will say it is repetitive. It sounds similar to a lot of other songs on that album. It also sounds very similar to Electricity, which is a B-side that had come out a year and a half before this track came out. The lyrics are some of the weakest on the whole album. The verses sound like very plain generally. And some of Alex's generally kind of like worst work, I would say. That we determined that the guitar riff very much feels like Jamie driven. It's not very complex. It's not terrible. I don't think it's their worst song. But it's just bottom of the barrel Monkeys, and so it's bottom of the barrel AM as well. So yeah.
Wash your mouth out with soap, saying Jamie led in such a disdain. This podcast is a defender of Jamie.
I mean,
Cook,
we
and will
said
not
it.
have
I
this
mean,
bias.
we've had
You
this
said it.
discussion.
Don't drag me into this. I am the Jamie Cook vibe trend. Apart from his wooden face in recent years, I don't say anything bad about him. But yeah. We got Chris. We got Chris's 11. So Justin just throwing bombs out there all over the show. if Snap Out of It isn't fucking next in your list, I'm calling bullshit on this whole list. So that is number 11. So sorry, I've just deciphered it because Chris put his B-sides in there as well. So I'm just removing them. Oh, he said. Sorry, I just did a double take on what his next one is. So, talk about bombs. Chris's next one is "I Wanna Be Yours." Oh. Shall we hear it? Uh-oh. I put two of them. One says "I won" and one says "I won." I can't read the rest. So one's "I want it all" and one's "I wanna be yours," and I don't know which clip is which. So let's just guess. Let's see what happens.
"I Wanna Be Yours." So I'm going to start on that one.
Yeah, we did it.
Oh, yeah.
I like this song, but I really don't understand the hype about it too much. I love the lyrics, I love the poem, the John Cooper Clarke, fantastic. I'm not as big a fan on the music of it. I think it's a good closer for the album. I don't dislike it as a closer. If I was to rearrange all the tracks, which we'll come on to in a bit, I wouldn't probably move it away from being the closer. I feel it's maybe overplayed at this point and probably a bit overhyped.
Well, we thought Fireside was a shock placement. I thought Justin's not having Snap Out of It a shock placement, but that is a hell of a take, isn't it? Putting that I guess when it comes up in our list, we'll discuss it more in depth. But it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because obviously this song became the biggest song on the album in recent years, hasn't it? So I mean, he's overplayed, perhaps, but having said that, because I don't listen to radio or anything like that, I never hear "I Want It," apart from on TikTok.
That's true. I don't think I ever really hear "I Want It All." I mean, I Want to Be Yours, like out in the wild.
No, it's always on videos, on reels and things. So
Yeah. So it's maybe that's what he means, but I don't listen to radio. But I can't imagine this is getting much play on mainstream like Radio 1 or anything in the UK, is it? Like maybe XFM, but XFM do take the piss with Arctic Monkeys tracks. Like even I listen to the radio about once a year, but whenever I do, if I'm in a taxi or something, an AM song is playing, and I'm like, they must just constantly play it if I'm catching AM every time I do hear the radio.
Is that AM? Foo Fighters, Kasabian, Cortina.
Yeah,
that's
the only play.
Radio X. XFM.
Radio X in a. Oh yeah, sorry, I called it. See, that's how old I am. I called it XFM.
Noel Gallagher's high-sided vehicles.
I'm still living in Carl Pilkington days. So let's get to our number 10s. But shall we start with Chris's, as though he's just dropping bombs out there? He has put at number 10, "I Want It All." So let's hear that.
Big defender of "I Want It All" as well. I think it's great. Fuck anybody who doesn't like it, in my opinion, to be honest. I think you're wrong. I think it's a fantastic song. I love it. These are sort of the more underrated ones, certainly on the record.
That was his number 10?
Well,
you know
sure
what? About that?
No, you know what? I'm gonna defend him here because it is my number 10 as well.
And my number 10.
Okay, great.
There you
go. Not Justin's, hopefully, because if it is, I'm going to be pissed. I know. Sorry, you had it at number 11, didn't you?
Mine's already.
Yeah. No, don't tell us yours yet. We'll stay on "I Want It All" because we've all covered it now. So I agree. I know what he means because I love the breakdown in this, the falsetto part, right? And you say about the lyrics, but that bit for me is one of my favorite lyrics on the album, just from a kind of story point of view. As putting an image in your head, the idea of him in the motel with the, I always imagine the little JD bottles and the Coke cans and that kind of stuff from that breakdown, and being in this kind of hotel room listening to the Stones. And I think it was interesting that we had one of those moments where Justin didn't know that you didn't know that was a reference to a Stones song in that particular lyric, and I just love that bit of the song. The rest of it, it's a bit like Electricity, it's a bit samey and glam stuff, but that actual breakdown is actually one of my favorite parts of the album. Like, when I say favorite, I mean it's one of the ones when I think of AM and I go through a flip list of moments in my head, that is one that stays with me, and I do listen to the song quite a lot in that regard for that bit solely, which is, I'll admit, like 40 seconds of the song, but it's not a very long song anyway. And its down point is I do hate the end. I hate a fade out. Yeah, I'm a big. But when we watched the live version, they did a stop that was very good when they did it. Justin, do you remember? We thought, why didn't they just do that? So I think what Chris has done there, in the same way that I have, is it's a song that we both like and we defend, but ultimately the quality of a lot of the songs in the album that we like means that it falls. It's got to be that same problem when we do, we kind of, the poor girl that does the enemy list and we say, why did she put that there? Ultimately, I think when we do our whole song list, we'll be like, fuck, this has to go here, even though I really love it, because there's just so much quality in there, which is great, obviously. So yeah, I put it there because it has to go there, but I do really love that breakdown. Simon?
Yeah, it's just another one of those like middling ones that they put in between the peaks. It feels like it is very much designed as like an up and down album for me. Like there are obviously massive songs, but then things to counterbalance other ones. Yeah, it's just a bit of a nothing. Apart from the, as you say, the Rolling Stones reference, which was really good.
Yeah, it is really just the breakdown. I have to be honest. Like the riff is obviously quite repetitive, and I don't, the one it all is a bit thingy, and it is basically electricity with a bit more oomph to it. But I just fucking love that breakdown, man. I love it, and the fact that is Alex doing that falsetto, I love that even more as well. But because I think a lot of people think it's Helder's, but it is Big Al. So Justin, number 10, you better.
All right. So my number 10 is Snap Out of It.
Yes, last finally, eh?
So if you will recall, what I did say about Snap Out of It, even though we did have a lot of problems with it, is I said if I only have to listen to Snap Out of It once, that's okay for me. Like I can't listen to it back to back because and I think that is the biggest problem with Snap Out of It is it did become this kind of very accessible type of hit that a lot of people seem to enjoy a lot. So it gets played a lot. I do absolutely agree. It's overplayed. It doesn't need a spot in the set anymore. They never need to play the song live again. However, if I just take the song and I listen to it and the one time, it's a catchy song. It's fun and it gets me like bob in my head and it'll be kind of stuck in my head later as I'm going along. And really, as long as you kind of the opposite of what you were just saying about I Want It All, where you're saying like really it comes down to just me liking that bridge. I feel like Snap Out of It is kind of the inverse of that, where it's like if I could cut the bridge out, like if I didn't really have to have that bridge stop and I could just have the kind of chorus part and what's catchy about it, then still it's my number 10. It's not anywhere even close to like the midway point, but as a song, it's not so terrible.
Yeah, I fucking don't like it. But you have used it. If you were a politician, Justin, we call you U-turn tool. That's what we call it. Obviously it's still there, and yeah, I mean, we haven't even had it in Simon's list yet, have we? I'm getting confused because there's so many different ones.
And he said he liked Snap Out.
So
of It.
so we'll hit. Well, you're a defender. We need defenders of each track on the album. Chris defends, I think, a few as well. Now I'm going to do number 9 first because this might be my turn to drop a kind of bomb on this. Number 9 for me is "Do I Want to Know," and
sorry,
and the crowd gasped.
Wow! Yeah. What?
It is compared to the other songs. It's over. Like, that is a track that's overplayed. I'll say that. It's honest. This is going to sound terrible. I think it's a great track. I love the lyrics that he's done. I think the riffs on it. When it came out, it was like, wow, this is fantastic. Love the video. This is amazing, right? As the years have gone on, I have found it increasingly dull. sometimes to listen to. Like when it's playing, I want to get to Are You Mine? Like I'm like, oh, and it's not because the song's bad. It's just because it's existed for so long and I've heard it so much. It's the same thing with Dance Floor. It's that kind of thing of going, although, I still get a lot of pleasure out of Dance Floor, but like, it's that kind of thing of going, I've heard this so much that I just want to get to the next track. And it's a slow build of a song, isn't it? And I kind of get a bit bored of that. When I hear it live, I think I love hearing it live. But hearing it like with my headphones in, I'm like, oh, okay, I've done this. I feel like I've done it. I've completed the song almost. I've kind of listened to it enough. And for me, when I was putting in the list, it just kept going. I kept going because the way I do mine is I'll listen to a track and I'll put it there, and then I'll kind of just do I think that's better than that? Do I think that's better than that? And it just fell there because I didn't prefer it to anything that comes above it. To be quite honest with you, and although it's a great track, it's going to sound really bad. I'm not saying anything negative about the song. I'm just saying that time has made. If you asked me this in 2013, I'd probably have it near the top, right? But now I'm just like tired of it a bit, and I'm like, I would much rather listen to all the other tracks that I've got above it than that. But nothing against the track before people get annoyed at me. There's nothing against the song as it stands. That's just how I am. So there you go. That's my bomb of the episode. Perhaps bigger than any of the others, you might say. Although I Want to Be Yours as number 11 was pretty big from Chris, I think, more than Don't I Don't number 9. But yeah, so there you go. So number 9, who wants to go next, guys? Or shall we go to Chris? Shall we have you guys? What do you want?
Let's go Simon and then Chris, and I'll go last.
Okay. So number 9, Simon.
Is that One for the Road? Another one of those downwards, I like the dip songs.
Sure.
I do see this album as like peaks and troughs. Like the peaks are really high, but the troughs are quite not boring, but just not memorable for me. That might just be me as a person constantly wanting memorable things. But it's another one of those ones that's just it comes and goes, and I don't understand how it was a single. That to me seems mad. I even like a downloadable single. It just feels like there's a couple of better songs on there that I would have released. Like Knee Socks wasn't a single.
And I Want to Be Yours wasn't
I know what you
single,
mean. Yeah, that is crazy. But in fact, you think they would have released Want to Be Yours as a single just to get John Cooper Clarke more money, although it worked out for him. Worked out for him in the end. But no, I agree. I know what you're saying, and I think they all admit, peaks and troughs. But I think One for the Road, I agree, it is strange it's a single, but I will never have a go at it being a single because we got a video of Jamie Cook riding a souped up tractor like it's a hip hop video, and that for me was worth the single release just for the video. So no, I think you're in step, Simon, with because I think we were defenders of One for the Road, weren't we, Justin? And we'll discuss it when we get to it.
That's one of those ones that it swings either way, because remember it was really high in the enemy list too. So like people either like really love that song or really don't like that song. There's no in between. It seems like.
Yes.
Well, after this on my list, there's no songs that I wouldn't listen to again. So I would listen to Snap Out of It again. It's just like these first four I've mentioned are the ones that are like, I don't need to hear them again.
Yeah,
which is quite good for me in an album.
So, all right, you wanted to go to Chris next, didn't you? So Chris actually had next after. So this is number 9, right? This number 9?
9.
Yes, number 9. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out because he's put the B-sides in there, so I'm just like, what did we just do? We just did I Want It All, didn't we? So he has at number 9 Mad Sounds, so higher than the rest of us. I think we've all had Mad Sounds already, right? So
yes.
So he does have a video here, a clip here. So let's hear him see why he put it at number 9.
A big defender of Mad Sounds as well. Being a big, you talked about it on the podcast. What's the song called? It's a long title. Stop the World. I know you talked about Lou Reed as the pre-album on that one, and big Lou Reed fan, big Velvet Underground fan, and that for me, very much is of that sound, bit Primal Screamy as well, in there. From some of the more sort of laid back tracks, absolutely love it.
That is not the clip where he tells me off about Lou Reed. Yeah, we're not there yet. But he obviously, I think he likes it. Obviously, quite I think a little bit more obviously than we do, but it's not much higher, obviously. But I think obviously he has a little soft spot for it. And I imagine if you're a big Lou Reed fan, maybe that would would factor into it a lot, because it is kind of like Alex doing his Lou Reed bit on the album, a little bit. So Justin, number 9. I dread to
So
think.
I don't feel as bad, especially I'm glad Dan went first, because Do I Want to Know is quite shocking, and I think a pretty big bomb, because my number 9 is going to be Arabella.
I think that's bigger than Do I Want to Know.
I don't know, man. As I said before, Arabella, to me, I like half the song. I really love the verses that they created and the vibe that they created. There's something about the mashup of the Black Sabbath aspect just doesn't vibe with me. I don't know. I can't get over it. Like, I can't get over that, like, kind of mental block that, like, this is not them. They didn't make this. They're kind of taking it from something else. And also, too, I just think it's a jarring mix. I get that it's like a fun live song. I get that a lot of people like it. I understand why they like it. But for me, it's just like something I can't really get past. And I often, honestly, don't really listen to this song. It's one that I kind of set off to the side most of the time. And when they play it live, like, I enjoy them playing it live because they seem to have a lot of fun with it. It's a great live track, but for the album and just like as a song on its own, I just don't listen to it that much, honestly.
It's fair enough. I think that is a bigger bomb than Do I Want to Know, just because Arabella is like a kind of big fan favorite. I think a lot of people love it. And because I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Doing Want to Know, I'm just saying over time I've got a bit bored of it. Whereas you have issues with it that other people don't. But I don't know, it's like because you'd said it was kind of a British thing. All the British people loved Arabella, but when you spoke to people not from England, it's just, I mean, obviously when it comes to our list, Simon, we can talk about it. But do you, maybe we'll dig into it then. But it's. I had a feeling you were going to put it there, and it's interesting that you. I don't have a problem with the blend. So I think when it comes up for me and Simon, we can discuss, I guess, what we think of that blend of it and how it works with the Sabbath stuff. So, the next one for me. So Do You Want to Know at number 9, and I have at number 8 One for the Road. So not a million miles away from you, Simon. Really, it just kind of fell there. So this was the two where I was quabbling it the other way around. I was like, this was one of them where I was like, should I change that round? But I think for me, One for the Road won because there's something about the way he performs the vocals that I find really enticing. That kind of, we'll go back to yours and you sit and talk to me on the floor. That thick tongue, that something we talked about on Stop the World, right? When we did that kind of sort of sexy, but like this sort of thick way of speaking and vibey vocal performance. Sassy, yeah, I really liked it. And then when we dug into the lyrics, the thing that I hadn't considered, that we kind of got into, that whole, that there isn't a, because I think what a lot of people say about him is it's this confident album, but when we dug into lyrics, it's actually quite insecure. And there's lyrics where it's like he's not actually sure if the girl likes him or not, or whether he should go for it. And that was kind of quite interesting as well. And I really like the verses. I love that guitar, that kind of little guitar that Jamie is doing. And yeah, I really like the lyrics and the performance in this one, which is why it beat Do I Want to Know, because I'm not bored of listening to One for the Road. When I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah, I really like this. And I really like what Helders does as well, actually. And Helders and Matt, probably. Was Josh Homme on this one as well? Or was that a different one?
I think so, yeah.
He was on 2, wasn't he? Yeah. So I really like that, and so it beat What Do I Want to Know just because of that. But it ultimately, I didn't prefer it to any of the others that are coming, so it kind of fell there as well. So shall we go to? Let's have you next, Justin. Why not?
Okay. Yeah, I think this is going to be another shocker. I'm sorry to keep shocking everybody, but this is a different vibe, honestly. So here at number 8, I have number 1 Party Anthem, and I really like this song. I really do like it. I think the lyrics are great. I think the vibe is great. It's just, it's a little awkward on the album and its placement. It's just, It's the one I think that sounds closest to what we're eventually going to get on Tranquility, I guess. So it's kind of the bridge song moving into the next sound era. But I don't know. I just sometimes I'm really in the mood for this one. For the most part, I do listen to it. But I guess when I'm throwing on AM, I had mentioned that a lot of my favorite songs are the really chill, vibey ones. And Number One Party Anthem is not necessarily that vibe. Like, it's a well-written song, but it would be like if all of a sudden Black Treacle was on this album. It's like it's a totally different vibe than what I'm looking for when I listen to AM. So when I'm going down my track list of AM tracks, yeah, I don't know. Number One Party Anthem just kind of fell here at number 8.
Yeah, that's so sorry, I just saw Simon's messages, private chat, just everyone has disappeared. So I think I'm surprised because we did talk about it quite highly on the episode, although you're saying that I'm pretending that didn't happen. But I'm making it up. And we actually considered it as the closer, right? Because of the outro until we got to the one of your episode, he's just swapping it. But I can see it. It's a weird one that we'll get, obviously, again, talk to it in depth when it gets in our list. But I think it's a lot of people's favorite song on the album that I know. Actually,
it was
high
up. Like with somebody made a list saying like,
oh look, someone put okay.
And it was like number 1. Yeah.
Well, if you remember, Simon ripped it off for one of his songs. If you recall, that
that's right.
But yeah, we'll get to how we do it. I mean, I think But anyway, let's go to. Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm glad that you guys and Chris are here to talk about album placements and stuff, because it's one of those things that just I never think about. Like, I really don't give a shit. Like, I just take the album as it is and I just go, okay. Like, it doesn't enter any album. It doesn't enter my psyche at all to care. So I'm glad that but I'm sure for most people it does. So I'm glad that you guys are here to cover that ground that I would just ultimately skip over, and not even think about. So that's good. It's good. We'll have you back. We'll have you all back. So we have Chris first. So we see what Chris put at
sure.
At number 8 on there. So Chris actually put One for the Road at number 8. Bang on the same with me there. And did he send me a voice note on that one? I don't think he did, because some of them got missed because there was a bit of a we had a bit of a mix up on what the brief was, let's say. So we don't have one on that, but I imagine he probably had similar thoughts to what I said, or something like that as a one. But Simon, then, what is your number 8?
My number 8 is Snap Out of It, which I know you both hate. But
Justin doesn't hate it, apparently.
Oh, hey. I just think it's as well as good as the Stop the World would have been after Why Do You Call Me When You're High. I think this one works as well because it picks it up a tiny bit, like the tempo goes up a bit. And I think in terms of the flow of the album, it really sort of lifts things a bit, because before that is like Mad Sounds, Fireside, Why Do You Call Me When You're High, and they seem very like mid tempo, and this one sort of lifts it up a bit, and then Knee Socks is vaguely around the same as well. But it's just, I do agree that it is overplayed and doesn't need to be in the set anymore. I think that's what everyone's problem was with the Tranquility tour, was there was so much AM in it still. And I think that might have been because wasn't it revealed that Jamie does all the set lists? Jamie writes all Jamie comes up with all the sets for each. Yeah. So I think he might have been putting himself in the place of the audience, in that this new album's come out and there's stranger than anything they've done before, and he doesn't want to scare the horses by putting all those songs in and not having anything that they're familiar with. So he puts in a lot of AM songs just so people have something to watch. Because when I went to see him in 2018, where I bought this wonderful t-shirt, it was a case of, we were sort of sat on the side of the stage, or not really on the side of the stage, but to one side.
Yeah.
And when they would play an old song, everyone would be up filming it with their phones.
Oh,
And when
yeah.
they played a song from Tranquility, they would just be sat down and go on their phones. And it was like really just a bizarre thing.
Yeah.
I don't
hate
think I've
that.
seen that in any other gig for anyone else where like, what's the song? This song I don't like. And I'll just sit down and go. It's like you've paid 80 quid for this, and you're just gonna go.
I think that is very UK specific as well, isn't it? Because they were this big band that people think trailed off. I had actually had a similar experience during AM because my seats were in the seating at the side of the stage as well for AM because it was so popular that it was hard to get tickets. And I was sat next to this bloke that was probably then in his like early 40s, something like that. And he was really winding me up because every time they played a first album song or an AM song, he'd get, oh, no, just first album, second album, actually, he'd get up and he'd be like going for it. And then they'd play another song off any of the other albums and he'd sit down like this the whole time. And I wanted to turn around and go, get the fuck up, what are you doing? But it really wound me up the whole time. I was just getting agitated. But yeah, so I don't get that either. But I imagine that doesn't happen in any other country with the band, right? Everyone that comes wants to hear a lot of the songs, I imagine, because it is, you know, I don't know. We're sour bitches in the UK, aren't we? Really, let's just be honest when we do it. But yeah, I think I get it. Let me ask you this about Snap Out of It, because it's good to have someone on, because you're with the majority of people. Does the kind of the backing vocal and the breakdown or anything great on you at all, like it did, I think, for me particularly, but maybe just a bit?
No, I think it's a sort of like it's a sing along thing. Like even if you can't sing, you can go Snap Out of It. You know, that's probably why it's so popular live, is because you can do that. Because otherwise, people are going that.
I actually think Do I Want to Know should come out of the set at this part as well. It never will, but it doesn't. You know what it is? It needs to be at the start of the encore, at the start of the actual gig, because it does not work in the middle. It doesn't work. Territory over. It does not work like 12 tracks in to have Do I Want to Know. No. It doesn't make sense. But Snap Out of It, I think a lot of it does feed in from the live set stuff, right? And I think from my point of view now, okay, in the AM set, obviously. In the Tranquility tour, okay, that was the last album, fair enough. In this tour, I'm giving them a pass for the car tour, because in the UK, it felt like, I don't know if you were at any of the gigs, Simon, but they were quite clearly doing the kind of greatest hits tour, weren't they? They were playing all the tits every tour, which is nice.
Stadiums.
Yeah, we're gonna do massive stadiums and we're gonna play all the hits, which is nice with them to do that. But next tour, I'll be pissed if Snap Out of It is still in there, because I'll be like, hang on now, come on. We're now like 13 years on. We've had several albums. You've done the greatest hits bit. Let's just put... What annoys me is I don't get any Tranquility songs or Suck It and See songs really much in the set. It's like, can we just bring some back and put them in there? Like, let's change it. But anyway. So number 7, we're getting, we're getting close to that. Getting close to that top 5 territory. Just checking, we did do Chris's number 8. Yeah, one for the road.
Yeah.
Let's start. Should we start with Chris? Because we haven't started with Chris for a while. So his number 7, closer to Justin, I suspect, than perhaps us, but I don't know. Can't speak for Simon. His number 7 is Arabella. Let's hear what Chris had to say on that.
Arabella, I'm not a huge, it's not one of my huge favourites, but I don't dislike it like Justin did. I think it's really great. I love I don't think the Black Sabbath riffs is cheesy or sort of knocks the effect of the song. I think they use it just enough for me that they don't overuse it on that one. I think they use it perfectly, and on live as well when they extend it into the Lord Pigs sort of outro is class. Yeah, fair enough. So he's not for the same reasons as you, Justin, but he just doesn't, I guess, like it as much as a lot of people do. I love the way he says Justin in a Scottish accent, by the way. That was just... but yeah, so I think that's fair enough. I could see, look, I think I love it, but I think if I'm being truly honest here, the verses and the lyrics, and I'll get into it when I get to it, I probably... We'll get into it in a bit, but I think lyrically I have a real soft spot for Arabella, and I'll explain as we go. I think I did on the episode. So, well, we've got to navigate your two filthy minds on the lyrics for that when we get to talking about it when it gets there as well.
Clearly about being fingered.
Alex being fingered or Arabella?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
no, him.
No, well, you thought it was about pegging, didn't you? Was that you?
Yeah. That's all.
Yeah.
Anything goes in
Yes.
there. Yeah.
I'm on a podcast with absolute depraved people here. Is it? So, well, I may as well go to you then, Simon. What's your number 7?
Do I want to know?
Ooh,
Again, for
not that much higher than me.
similar reasons for you with that you had. In that it's not only overplayed, but it's also quite long, and you know that isn't going to change, and
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Sorry, it's the same thing that it was. So ear catching when it first came out was just that the incessant and just the way everything moves around it, but then that's it. That's all there is. At the end, and then, but it is quite a long song to have just not trudginess, but and I agree that there's nowhere in it in the set other than first or maybe like last song of the main set or first song of the encore.
Yeah. I'm glad you put it like that. That's better than I put it. I think that is what the thing that made it for me so enticing when it came out. That beat is now the thing that I've heard it so much that bores me because I know, like you say, it's so long that I know I'm not gonna get anything else, and I've listened to it so many times that I just go, nah, next one. You know what I mean? Like, and the thought of skipping it and getting to the bound of Are You Mine is so exciting that it makes me just want to go to it. So, but yeah, interesting. I feel that Justin's going to be way on the other side of this, so it'll be interesting to get to his thoughts and perhaps Chris as well, because he hasn't had it yet. Oh no, did he? No, he hasn't had it yet.
No.
So, Justin, then let's go to you. What was your number 7?
My number 7 is going to be High. Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High? And I mean, a similar maybe kind of reason. This is one we talked about, I think, in our post show where it was like the second single. It got played a lot too, as most the second singles tend to do. And it's more chill vibe. I really do like how they capture the kind of hip hop sound, and I really do like the song, but it also kind of has that maybe kind of static feel a little bit to it. It doesn't change up too much. And the lyrics, it was one of our, like, I think shortest lyric sections. He's not particularly doing anything super clever with it. And so ultimately I think it's appropriate for me to kind of end up in this kind of middle range, because now we're at 7, we're bottom half, top half. So just I like the song, but it's not so special with everything considered. So yeah, High for me. Dan, how about you? What's number 7?
High is my number 7 as
Whoa,
well. We are
okay.
bang on there, exactly the same. Yeah. I fit exact same reasons as you. I think when it was funny actually when I was on holiday and I did the list, and when I came home and I thought, right, let's just listen to them and readjust them. I originally had One for the Road higher than High. I had High at number 8 and One for the Road number 7, and then I listened to High and One for the Road and it went great, and then I listened to Why Do You Call Me High and that ding ding ding, and I went, oh no, that's obviously better, and I put it one higher. But ultimately, like, it couldn't beat my enjoyment of the ones above it. Maybe the next one there's a bit of room, but like, yeah, I really like the beat. I really like what they're doing with it and the concept, but it just doesn't excite me more than the ones ahead of it, I guess, is kind of the ultimate placement of it. So I think what you said, it's the perfect place for it. It's kind of midpoint for me just because that's where it is. It doesn't, like, I'm not going to listen to it over something else, but what I will say is if I'm at a jukebox and I'm out, I want to put it on. Usually that's one of my go-tos because I like hearing it when I'm drinking. And I think that's because I'm trying to live the video, like Alex in the video, I think a bit is like really what it is. And it is my favorite video of this era, I have to say. I do really love the video for this. Yeah. I think it's one of the better videos in terms of telling a story and being quite interesting, and one of the rare ones where Alex is actually performing in a video. But I mean, I love it. It's a great track. I love hearing it. But again, I think that's suffered a bit from Do I Want to Know, where I've heard it so much that I almost don't, I take it for granted now a bit and it falls. But it is a go-to jukebox one, whereas I will never put something like Do I Want to Know on when I'm out or something like that, even though I probably should. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. is there as well. Now, do I fucking want to hear the version that sounds like "Are You Mine" that Helders alluded to? Absolutely.
Yes.
Like that could amp it up, that list, if it was like that entirely. Like, I'm so intrigued by that. But yeah, cool track, but don't love it more than what's to come, I guess. We've all covered our sevens, have we?
Yeah, I think
Oh
so.
no,
Yeah.
is Chris? Is Chris's one? Oh,
No,
yeah, Chris.
yeah, Chris did.
Yeah, Chris did Arabella.
Oh yeah.
Arbella.
Yeah. So sixes then. I kind of alluded to it, so I guess I'll go into it. But so this was kind of one that I was rolling over. I put Fireside there, which is obviously quite a bit ahead of where you had it, Chris. Have you had it yet, Justin, in your list? I don't think you had it.
Not yet.
No, and Chris, Chris certainly hasn't had it. Yeah, Simon has. So I was up in an hour about this in high, so I really like the high riff. I do really like that bass and that, but ultimately, Fireside has this the same reason that you actually said that you didn't, that opening beat with that acoustic. I love the beat, and I actually love the acoustic, because the acoustic is just C and F back and forth, but they do it at a pace which is really interesting to me. I really like the way they perform that, and then when it changes to that and go dancing by, and I think it's one of the songs on the album that has emotional depth but also has a kind of dark depth to the song. I think that's probably why we said it was the most Humbug-esque. I feel like I'm near a fire at night with it flickering, and I can feel that in the song. And it's one of the songs that gives me an emotional reaction musically and lyrically more than a lot of the other tracks on the album that are quite cold, as we've said. And I just really feel something. I feel that idea of being in overlapping relationships that we think it's about, that I do truly ultimately think it is about, and setting off that spark and the fire. I really just connect to the song in a way emotionally that I don't for the rest of on most of them on the rest of the album. So for that's why it's there, and that makes me sound like it should be my fucking number one, doesn't it? The way I've just gone on about it, but ultimately I don't prefer it to the top 5, so it just sits outside of that. But I really think there are certain days it could be higher, certain days I guess it could be lower than high. You know, it's one of them. But I do feel like it's one of the only songs that gives me an emotional response. Really, an emotional response of. They all give me emotional responses in some form of emotion, but I guess I mean kind of a I don't know what I mean, empathetic, I guess, or something like that. Like it makes me feel something emotionally, more than any of the other tracks. Which it gives me like Suck It and See does, you know, it gives me a bit of something like that. The connection I have to that. So yeah, that's why it's there. Let's have Simon. Go on.
It's 4 people. I've got Why Don't You Call Me When You're High at number 6. Again, because it's another single that I've heard all over the place, and it just seems that not like it was overplayed or anything, but it is just very familiar. And if I am sort of ranking them in favorites, at one point it would have been really a lot higher, but it's sort of dropped down a bit. Purely because of familiarity breeds contempt, but not contempt. It's just I don't hate any of these songs apart from
no.
But it's now it's like the last sort of the last half of this list now could be shuffled in any way apart from number 1, which I will get onto. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're not a million miles away from us, right? You're only one place higher, so that's tracks on there. So Justin, do you want to go, or should we hear from Chris?
Yeah, I can go ahead and go. Okay. So we're at number 6. So here I finally have, I think now it's been covered all, One for the Road. I think, have we all covered One for the Road at this point?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
So I have the highest, but still, I mean, it's just, it's here at number 6. And what I will say about this one compared to some of the other ones is I really love the music, actually. So we've talked about, them capturing the hip hop vibe on High. But I just think when we talked about it and we had to listen to the instrumental, there was a lot of really cool guitar things going on, like different guitar things going back and forth, but it still has that hip hop vibe. And I just think that's really interesting to have all these like kind of intricate little pieces building on each other as if they're samples or sounds from a keyboard or something like that, but they're guitars. And I think that's really interesting. And I thought that the change in the idea that like everybody listens to the song and assumes it's about this kind of confident person, you know, smooth talking this girl at this house party or something like that. But ultimately it's like quite insecure. And so it's got a little bit of depth there. But overall, I think mostly I just really dig the vibe. This is, when I listen to AM, this vibe is kind of more of what I'm looking for, even more than like the kind of rock songs, you know, your Knee Socks and your One for the Roads. I really just kind of like chilling out, have that nighttime, early AM vibe, and yeah, just having a bit of those like sexy feels, hip hop feels. So yeah, this is One for the Road for me here at 6.
I think we're going to shock people that I have One for the Road higher than Do I Want to Know, although only by one, and that you have One for the Road higher than Number One Party Anthem and Arabella.
True, yeah. And Arabella,
yeah. But Christopher Gale, he has number 6 as Do I Want to Know. So that's
okay.
3 of us. We Do I Want to Know in the bottom half, but Justin, you're the only one there where it's going to be in your top 5, obviously.
Well, that's his 6, so that's his top half.
Yeah. But you're the only one that's going to have it in your top half, I guess.
Top 5.
Oh yeah, top 5. Top 5. Yeah, top 5. I always forget as like the top 5 is like the definitive part of the list. I don't have anything on that from him, but I imagine he will say that he obviously liked it closer to you, Justin, than me certainly. I imagine it's there because the next 5 he just loves more than that, and it's kind of I guess 6 is kind of a natural place for Do I Want to Know if you're a fan of it, but there's more tracks that you really love, I guess, doesn't it? The midpoint. So let's move. Here we go. The top 5.
Don't Believe the Hype is hosted and produced weekly by Justin Toole and Dan Holt. The music used in the titles is royalty-free music courtesy of Les FM. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast player of choice to be notified every Wednesday when a new episode is released. Sign up with us on Patreon to get exclusive content including coverage of The Last Shadow Puppets, Arctic Monkeys adjacent album reviews, and concert watch-alongs. If you want to help us out further, be sure to like and review to help make us more visible to like-minded souls. We'll see you next week with more of the same.